And what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Uncommon Line Podcast. We are back down at Triarch Systems for another Push in the Line. We got a great episode in store today. This is episode 36, 37, whatever we're going to call it. Probably episode 36 if I ever decide to upload the live. We've got your name, sir?
Duane Buckner Buck.
Duane Buckner Buck. We're going to refer to him as Buck from Aimpoint. We'll get to that in a second, but we're going to go ahead and do our intro, kind of talk about some of the stuff coming up, guys. First off, the episode's brought to you by Triarch Systems. Everybody knows. Sponsoring this series.
You guys are awesome, though.
Dude, you're awesome, bro.
You guys. Mark is awesome, though.
Bro love.
Thank
bro
you.
love. Oh, he loves you, too.
I'm a little guy.
Yeah. So thank you for Triarch Systems coming down. Remember, guys, go check out their pages. They got some awesome stuff going on. They're always building guns. We had a great episode with Chris the last episode where we did a Q&A and answered a lot of questions that are out there within the gun community. And it wasn't just gun stuff.
No, gun stuff,
and a lot of stuff about their brand. Really good episode. As far as us goes, as far as the Uncommon Line, we've got some stuff coming up. We're bringing on another person. Not going to necessarily call him a sponsor just yet because of some conflict of interest in regards to their career choice. But awesome association in what he's doing. Can't wait to share stuff within the local business arena and restaurant arena here in Dallas. So he's the president of the Dallas Restaurants Association. We're going to be able to highlight some different restaurants and different chefs, as well as highlight his career and what he does. I'm not going to give it all away yet. But looking forward to that. We've got another shirt drop coming.
Yes.
Which you will not see it at this time of this episode, but there may be some pictures that are dropped on an event we're going to next weekend with gun policy. So, we're not going to talk about all that. We're just going to wait for y'all to stay tuned and what we're going to be doing with them. Awesome project coming up.
So excited.
So excited. So,
I'm excited for the shirt, man.
Yeah, he's more excited about the shirt. So we secured that. Depending on everybody's feedback, we'll get that done. We got the other two shirts up on the live on the website. Guys, we're trying to do more. So help support us. Go check them out. Yeah. So anything else I can think of?
No, man. I think that's it. We've been pretty busy, though, personally.
Yeah, personally, yeah. Sorry, guys. We haven't been able to, even for y'all, we just haven't had really a time. Y'all know our callings, our jobs as law enforcement officers, so it's hard to nail down dates and everything. But we got some stuff planned, and we'll roll into, I guess, kind of leading into our episode before we bring Buck on fully. But as far as the Push in the Line series, we've got stuff coming up.
Yeah. A lot of stuff coming up. William Jackson from Gladiator 6, Gladiator Guns down in New Braunfels. Get him on the episode, and super cool guy. We brought him on board as far as one of our pro staffs, and he's been doing a great job.
Yeah, he's an awesome dude. Great,
He's an awesome dude.
Yeah, great. I love his perspective on everything. His lives are always very informative.
Yep.
And a different view. A lot of times, which is awesome, like a different view on life and all his stuff he's gone through. So. Yeah. It's great just to have a different dynamic.
Yeah. Well, this is another fun fact is we were kind of just in those conversations and went to his class, and we had dinner one night, and turns out we were both in the Army at the same time, and we were literally across the parking lot from each other, different buildings.
Really?
Same time. Didn't know each other.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Small world.
Then we kind of got a project that we've kind of been talking, you and I have been talking about, where we're going to build an OZ9.
Yeah.
Somebody's OZ9.
Somebody's brand new OZ9.
My beautiful wife over there.
We can put her name on it, too.
We're going to put her name on it. It's her gun. It'll be her gun, I guess.
Gun. And we're going to laser your face on it, too, so she knows.
Man, that's just sexy right there. Yeah. That is just sexy.
Giving like a wink or something.
Yeah. She's going to have to, when she murders me, she's going to have to take the face off the gun. But, yeah, so what we're going to try to do, guys, we're going to try to do something a little bit different. We wanted to film the making of the gun and the OZ9 project and build it while we did a podcast, right? It also gives a perspective of like what they do every single day in the shop, which is just putting together guns, hanging out, talking.
That's what I saw today.
Yeah. You come into so many different conversations each time. Depends on what it could be: movie characters, music, whatever it is, food.
Yeah.
And so just do something totally different. Build the gun and just bullshit.
Build the gun. Stress a little bit. Ignore text messages from you.
Yeah.
And just kidding. But and shout out to Calvin over at OMG Tacos and brought over tacos today. So pretty awesome. Good stuff.
Buck, was that your first? So we're going to bring Buck on now. So now Buck's officially on the show. Even though he's been
Hey,
sitting on the show. But hey, welcome to the show, buddy. I'm really
right.
excited to have you on, man.
Cool.
I've been following everything you've been doing all week long. Well, I was out in the heat. I know y'all were in heat, but you looked kind of comfortable. Like none of y'all were sweating. Like it looked very convenient.
Nice glisten.
Here I am wringing out a shirt of like 5 pounds of weight. You know,
man. I think I lost about 5 pounds. It's hot. Dallas hot's different hot.
Yeah, it is. So thoughts on OMG tacos? Was that your first time having them?
Holy cow! Yeah,
Yeah,
they
it's
were
legit.
very good. Yeah,
They're
man.
dangerous. They're
Yeah,
very
they were
dangerous.
dangerous. Yeah, I wouldn't stop. I was rude actually. I ate a bunch.
It's it's completely normal to fight over other people's hands to get the tacos.
Well, we came in here and there was a bunch of tacos sitting on the floor here that hadn't been eaten, and I was like, they were just sitting there. And
should have ate them.
yeah, I was like, I mean, really, 5 hours, 6 hours, 10 hours? I'd push it. I'd push it, bro.
I mean, come on, just do it.
Yeah. Mark's looking at us like with a disgusted face, like you wouldn't do that.
No, 100% I'd do that. I just didn't realize
I was
they were
like,
up for
dude,
grabs.
how many times? Yeah. I was like, how many times have we
what
made
the
food at
fuck,
1 o'clock
dude?
in the afternoon and then we're eating it at midnight? You know,
Oh, man, that's a
Yeah.
different. Oh, that's we need to have one of those days.
Yeah. So,
We
Buck,
really
so
did.
real quick, you work for Aimpoint, right?
Yep.
Is that who you're employed by solely, or do you have your own company?
Nope. Yeah, I'm the director of training for Aimpoint.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I came on. I used to contract teach for them for, I don't know, probably a year, maybe 2 years, and they hired me in January. I think it was January anyway.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I work for them.
How did y'all connect?
Through a mutual contact of ours, Cormac over there works at Aimpoint also. I've known Cormac for years.
Cormac O'Hanlon, yeah.
Yeah, he's a super cool dude. I met him.
This is exactly what he looks like.
Yep. Yeah, it was like 2013 is when I first met him, built him a rifle years ago, and we just always kept in contact. He's always helped me out throughout the years, so super solid guy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
I think the first time we met was TTPOA.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
last one. Yeah, we talked on the phone. But
Yeah, we talked on the phone, but first time I met was we did meet at Savannah briefly.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
briefly
the
at
photo
Savannah,
shoot thing.
But that was interesting times.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Everybody's kind of working their own issues out.
Yeah, we were pretending.
Yeah, we were LARPing.
Yeah.
Hard.
we were LARPing. Yeah.
Hard, man.
I love
You know,
LARPers.
Inspirational quote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so how long have you been with Aimpoint?
Yes, since January. But I taught with him. I'd say probably totally 3 years, 4 years. I'm terrible with numbers like that. But so I retired in 2017 and went to work for Telluric Group. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They teach night vision mostly.
Awesome.
And then almost immediately we started contract training for Aimpoint. They had this program called Aimpoint Academy, where we would do transition training if they'd come, buying up enough optics or something like that. We'd do it. And then they approached me at the beginning of this year and really wanted to flesh out a real, training capacity within the company. It's interesting. Aimpoint's split really into kind of two. The rest of the world and the States and the U.S. And I'm the director of training for the U.S. But so there's a director of training over there as well, but it's very different. They're mostly hunting. So this is all.
Is that because of laws?
Yeah, typically. I mean, it's funny. I talk to him on a daily basis, and the training that I do versus the training he does, very, very different because there's no gun culture there. So I have to, I don't have to teach you the basics. He has to teach folks the basics. So he doesn't get very far typically, but he goes all over the world. Tunisia is where he is today.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but it's Aimpoint's really known as a hunting company anywhere else you go.
Really?
Yeah, in the U.S. it's not that way at all.
Yeah, no, I would never even have looked at it that way.
Yeah. Well, it's hunting, but it's just kind of a different kind of hunting.
Yeah. No, yeah, most definitely.
There you go.
Yeah. Mark, do me a favor. Push his mic a little bit forward. We're losing it a little bit from the
Right there?
Yeah.
Right. Well, you did mean what you said, didn't you?
Yeah, I did mean what I said. We will not repeat what I said. So I don't think your company would want me to repeat what I said.
No,
too.
it's not.
Yeah, it's not. So let's go before you're with Aimpoint. We got some great questions for you today.
Okay,
I
man.
typically don't
Right on.
script my questions, but there were a few, like one of the ones I talked to you about. But I kind of want to set the baseline of like your history and where you come from. So prior to Aimpoint, what were you doing?
Yeah, so I worked for that Telluric Group, which is a training company, essentially training and contracting company. Before that, in 2017, all the way back to 91, I was in the Coast Guard. And I did.
Yes, Mark, we know.
Hell yeah, shipmate. Hell yeah.
Yeah. So my career was I did heavy weather search and rescue for about half my career, and about mid career I went to what's in the Coast Guard called the Deployable Specialized Forces. So it's kind of a mixture of the higher end parts of counter narcotics, anti-terrorism and counterterrorism.
So y'all are those dudes boarding the submarine that was banging on the thing,
Yeah.
and breaching it.
Show me your life jackets.
Yeah,
Show me your life jackets, right? Yeah. Or I'll kill you.
Yeah. Shooting a 50 cal out of fucking engine. Oh God, I didn't even hit that dude.
Yeah. Whoopsie.
Yeah. That's kind of that seems like a major switch in career.
Yeah,
Like,
it was.
I mean,
Yeah, it was. Absolutely was. It's I think probably if you're a SWAT officer in the country, your job is looked on as a life-saving job, and maybe it's tongue in cheek or kind of a shrug, but that's kind of how it's framed in the Coast Guard as well. It's a life-saving mission, just in a different cast. You know what I mean? But it was a heavy switch, and then that's one of the reasons I did it, because I kind of woke up one day and I knew what every Wednesday in front of me was going to look like for the rest of my life, or the rest of my career anyway. And I wanted a different challenge. I wanted something I really wanted something to ask of me, and it did. I found it.
so let me get this straight. So are you a rescue swimmer?
No. I was a heavy weather operator, boat operator.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you're a bosun mate?
Nope. I was an ME. Well, I was a bosun mate at one time. I had kind of a writer's resume. So
What did you get out as?
MEC, so a chief.
Okay.
Yeah, maritime enforcement.
So just a
specialist.
chief. You didn't go senior chief or anything else.
Oh no, but you were going to refer to him the rest of the episode as chief.
I would 100%.
You damn sure was.
I was like, I'm like sitting there.
Yeah, he's like, oh yeah. So
questioning it.
he's like, so you weren't a master chief?
He was like 91, and I was like, this guy's a fucking chief.
I've been
That's
around for a long
100%
time.
sure.
Yeah.
So because you said something like, I know what every Wednesday is going to be like. I mean, I guess it's any line of service at some point, right?
Yeah, exactly right. And I had a great opportunity to kind of change that. I loved it. I really loved what I was doing. I mean, I tell people all the time, if you captured me in my career for all eternity, it probably wouldn't be, jumping out of a helicopter with a Mark 18. It would be running a surf boat in big waves, because it was a great time. And honestly, it was the measure. So, when you're measuring yourself against another human being, that's certainly something, but there's a competitive component to it. When you're measuring yourself against the ocean, it's fundamentally different. It's just fundamentally different. It takes a lot of, introspection, and So I don't want to say that I hated that. I didn't. I just didn't have any more
passion.
Yeah. Because I really, honestly, at that point, my job had become teaching and administration largely. I mean, I ran boats, but you know how it goes. It's your job to run boats, but you're really just running kids.
Your idea of running boats is a little bit different than my idea of running boats. Yeah. Like, my idea of running boats is being completely sober, Jimmy Buffett, with some Sammies on deck,
Boat drink.
Yeah, boat drink.
Yeah.
A little bug juice.
Sober.
Yeah.
Sober.
It was different. Bug juice, very good. Yeah.
So we just had somebody else join us. What's up, man?
So that's our homie Jeff over there.
Cool.
Awesome dude.
I don't think I've met Jeff.
Jeff's a cool dude.
Nice to meet you, bro.
Hey,
So going from, it's almost like when we talk about it all the time, it seems like every freaking episode, like, what is your why, right? So like trying to find your why within your career, and so you make that switch of being driving a boat to having to turn the fucking switch on and go zero to fuck you really quick.
Yeah.
And then the evolution of your career into training seems natural at that point, right?
Yeah, because the Coast Guard's a very small organization, 40,000 people roughly, and that's with every component. The community that I was in was absolutely tiny. At the time when I first got into it, there were less than 200 of us, top to bottom. It started as the deployable operations group, and I don't know how they came up with that, but they did. And then it was kind of broken into these teams and so on and so forth. It migrated out of that, but I wandered and forgot the question. What were you saying? The why?
Yeah, your why.
Like, the transition.
Yeah, transition.
Yeah. So I
Sorry,
didn't
too much
anticipate. Holy smokes.
It's only a second one, guys. Lightweight.
So it was. So initially, I'm
Come on,
I'm where I was.
Come on, bring it home. Bring it home.
So I was a small arms instructor back when I did search and rescue, because you're dual hatted when you're in the Coast Guard. So even though you're doing search and rescue, you carry a gun. You do standard law enforcement. So I really enjoyed teaching. I really enjoyed imparting information and kind of dissecting concepts and turning them into language that other people could understand. Really, is kind of what I think of teaching or training is. So when I got to the DSF, you go through this BTOC, basic tactical operator course, and it's just this gut punch. It's just what you would imagine it to be.
Like, is it just any normal indoc?
No, it's there's a special missions training center in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, down in Courthouse Bay, and it's pretty selective. It's got a high attrition rate. It's shooting. You just shoot a tremendous amount. As a matter of fact, when you get a welcome aboard package, when you get orders to it, and there's a grip, one of those grip tools that comes in it, and they say get to work now, because you're going to be pressing the trigger a lot. So it was just an absolute gut punch, and but anyway, so after that initial training, you go to your team, and then your team has needs. So it'll be advanced combat marksmanship instructor. You need one of those to conduct this training, so you have to go to that school, and water survival master, and all these other things that just kind of stack your resume in teaching. And I'll be honest with you, I tell people this all the time when I'm teaching. I enjoy training because I can train the way I want to now. I can teach the way I want to, because the military is not really good at it at all. I think the training model comes right out of 1939, 1940, where we had to take farm boys and turn them into riflemen pretty quickly. So, and not really good riflemen, just riflemen, just people to carry a gun.
Yeah.
And they're still doing it. They're still doing it. So anyway, I'm not knocking it. It was good, but yeah, that's kind of the transition in training, because when you're in a leadership position in a team, that's your job, is to teach the folks below you. And
so shooting on the move is one thing. Shooting on the move on a boat,
different.
Holy shit.
Different.
Shooting on the move on a boat under night vision,
different.
Holy shit.
Actually, it's much easier because of lasers. You know what I mean?
But still,
you're
on a fucking boat.
Did you ever do any Hitron stuff? Were you ever out that way?
Yeah, So my last unit actually was just right down the road from them.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and their helicopters can't lift the weight to have a bunch of assaulters on board, so we didn't do that with them. But we'd work with them, and we had to integrate with them.
Yeah.
But usually it's any unit that uses 60. I mean, like the 65s couldn't support us either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this and this is just random.
This whole thing's random, man. Go ahead.
Yeah. And then getting into it. But is it pretty much just a linear assault?
Yeah. So if you
like an airplane or a school bus?
Yeah, absolutely. Right.
Really?
So if you have gunnel to gunnel is different. You know what I mean? Especially if you're in a boat that doesn't offer any cover, it's really easy to shoot each other. Especially if you got the boat fire ethic, I got to get on the boat.
Yeah.
So you keep it gunnel to gunnel. But when you're actually on the structure, yeah, absolutely. Especially if there's a main passageway, which is the problems are pretty amazing, because you have a very narrow passageway, right? So if there's a dude at the end of it with a PKM, big bad news. You know what I mean? Big bad news.
Dude, like
a strong wall in the entire.
Yeah, dude, it's just like a kill zone, because it's not. I mean, even with an assault in a bus, I mean, you can freaking breach some windows, port and cover, some distraction. Like, there's none of that. Let's just get on this bad boy and let's go for a ride.
Yeah, it's and the other thing about boats or ships is that there are doors in places there shouldn't be doors.
Yeah.
So when you do a door check on a boat, it's for another door. I mean, you're looking for another, or you're looking for a passageway, or you're looking for some other way that you don't intend to. So the speed of the assault's pretty slow, typically speaking, because you can blow so much off.
Yeah.
The other side of that is that it's steel, so walls are cover, not pretend cover.
Right.
But I got to tell you, if you're breaching a quick acting watertight door, it takes about 20 minutes. With either with a broco or with a saw.
Would you broco it?
Yeah. Even then, it just takes so long. If you use a saw,
crazy, dude.
It's fast or faster, but you let everybody know, because you're in a big resonation tube.
And how many big? Yeah, I was gonna say. And then how many guys are in assault group?
It all depends on what you're doing, but what we used to call FP teams, there were 12 to 18 guys. AI advanced interdiction teams, yeah, you could have 20 guys, but I mean, you're not going to flood all those folks onto a little boat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in the Middle East, the Dows, 6 guys is enough.
Wow.
Plus, people have fucking makeshift boats.
Yeah.
They just,
I'd
imagine.
Yeah.
Whatever you guys take down, literally like a bus on a tire floats.
Yeah, and for whatever people think, the counter narcotics units are just a different breed. From everything, right? From
Yes.
From the intel gatherers to the DEA guys to support groups to the Coast Guard. You know, people don't realize that the impact the Coast Guard has on counter narcotics missions. Massive. And we're not talking fucking weed, okay? Like, no, talking shit, fucking, I don't care about, I'm talking about like, you know, we're talking kilos and now fentanyl, you know, all the fentanyl rage that's going on. And these dudes that are hitting these boats, you know, breaching doors with a load of fentanyl, you know, it's nothing to fuck around with.
No, it's not. Yeah, that's why we didn't have bangs forever, because you don't want to bang on a petrochemical tanker.
Yeah,
you know
no joke. Yeah,
or anything like that. But the East Pack is just full of that stuff now. It kind of shifts back and forth, and the enforcement will crowd up on the Caribbean, and then, you know, they'll move to the East Pack and so forth, back and forth. But you're right, the numbers associated are amazing, and the technology is
it's just insane.
It's ascendant.
It's insane. Yeah,
it keeps going.
So you go on this into the Coast Guard. Like, where are you originally from? Your family?
Asheville, North Carolina, but my dad was in the Air Force, so
it was
everywhere between Germany and Guam. You know,
what was his AFAC?
He was a supply guy, and then he went. He did munitions. He was a bomb guy.
So y'all grew up just traveling.
Bombs. Yeah. So I mean, literally everywhere, man. All over the states, and formative years were in Germany and down in Kaiserslautern.
Kaiserslautern. I spent some time down there.
Yeah, but I didn't know exactly where.
Yeah, Boy. Yeah.
I've only been to Hamburg.
Yeah. That place,
I don't like long flights. So, you know,
well, no, we sailed over there on the Eagle.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, man, that's something I'll never fucking forget. Fucking sailing across the ocean on the Eagle.
Yeah,
fucking
that's
pirate
cool.
ship. That was badass.
It's a wonder that Germany lets it back in. You know.
Well, yeah, dude.
Prize of war.
Yeah. People don't really understand that the Eagle, man, it's got like massive history between us and Germany and stuff. Hitler had his birthday on it.
Yeah, the Eagle is a bark. You know,
pirate ship.
It's a pirate ship.
Everybody, it's a pirate ship.
Yes, Mark went on a pirate ship. Trust me. You know how many drunk stories we've heard of him. You know, I was up on the mast and I was sitting in the eagle's nest, and you know,
dude, it was awesome. Mike is super jealous.
Yeah. So that's so service was built into you.
Yeah, I think so.
Is that the reason you went that route? Do you think?
You know, I don't know, man. I was working in a brickyard, and I was like, oh, this sucks. I don't want to do this for long.
Well, this sucks. So did you go to college anywhere?
No. I did, but not then. I did, you know, while I was in. I finished while I was in. But no, I don't know, man. I kind of wanted to go see the world. You know, I obviously had sand in my shoes because we had never lived anywhere for more than 4 or 5 years, and at the time I was living in Macon, Georgia. Have you ever been to Macon, Georgia?
No.
Not much to see.
I have. Yeah.
You went to Macon too?
I've been everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chris with the mysteries.
It wasn't great.
You guys don't know, man.
Yeah, bro. We need to open up those can of worms on fucking other episodes.
No, let's not.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's keep that
Let's
stuff.
do it.
Let's keep that
Content.
stuff stored down.
Yeah.
Doesn't need to come back up.
We do not suppress anything. Remember, my sir.
Oh yeah. I forgot.
Yeah, I'm curious, man, because so many guys, you know, it's like you hit your life's mission, right? Of like, you know, because there's service amongst all of us, right? And everything we do, you know, it's bred into us. It's still bred into us. I mean, I don't care. The fact that y'all aren't in the military or anything more doesn't mean you're not a life of service. Look at what y'all do. You know?
100%, yeah.
Whether that be to employees or to, you know, to your company. And I'm not saying like work is service, right? Like true service.
True service, exactly.
Sacrificing our family time to go out and train people in our nation, which I'll get into in another second. But
it's a cultural thing.
Yes.
What you said earlier about, you know, service being bred into me is absolutely right. I remember, you know, when we got out of the Air Force, and the first high school I went to is in, you know, rural North Georgia. There were, I just couldn't believe the divisions of people. I just couldn't believe the, you know, kind of the political divisions of people, because my whole experience had been, I was an American. You know, we're just all Americans, and you know, because when you're going to school in Germany or Guam, you know, that you kind of cleave together. But anyway, it was always everybody else first, you know, and I think that's just in the culture.
It's so interesting, you know, we're seeing this fight, you know, and I'm not going to have a race discussion on here, you know, it's just too much of a hot topic, but you know, within the military, we're seeing this, the generals are talking and testifying towards.
Oh, I saw that.
The critical race theory stuff, I guess, that's being taught. And, you know, people are believing the military's racist.
Dude.
And I'm like, the military's like the least racist place.
It's the most egalitarian.
Dudes coming together, you know, traveling the world, living amongst other cultures. If anything, we need to be doing more of whatever the military is doing to build camaraderie amongst different races and where people come from. And we're not just talking black and white. We're talking from all across the globe.
Yeah.
You know,
I think you're hitting on something there, because I think that's hardship. You know, when you're in the military, I don't care what you do in the military. You know, what creates that camaraderie, that, you know, that cohesiveness is exactly.
Overcoming adversity will create bonds.
Together. Absolutely together.
And then here's the deal. You and the team are overcoming that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
What are we doing in a nation where we are not allowing anybody to overcome adversity? We're just handing stuff out.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what adversity is anybody having to come over?
Yeah, that's exactly.
Well, no wonder there's division.
Yeah.
Right? No wonder diversity is lacking in so many different cultures.
Well, we're bored.
There's no challenges.
Yeah.
Right?
That's exactly.
And people would argue, you know, well, I grew up in hardships and challenges. Okay, cool. But I'm talking on a more macro level than a micro level.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
As far as
a shared hardship.
Yeah,
exactly. A shared hardship. We don't have that. We have, you know, victory gardens were a result of a shared hardship. We don't have that or anything like that. In fact, I think probably it's the opposite of that. You know, we're so individualized that, of course, there are these divisions within our culture, because we are divisions within our culture. That's really what we are. You know, we're reduced to that. You know,
I think you can say whatever you want now, and there's no penalty for it. You know what I mean? You can post whatever you want, say whatever you want, but there's no one who's going to be right there on the spot to challenge you.
Yeah,
you can say it, and then there's a barrier there, so anybody can say anything behind a blind wall if they don't know if it's you.
Which I'm for, and you know, freedom of speech. So you know, so much, but the problem is when we have that open platform, right? Whatever, you know, hey, you have your ideologies, I have my ideologies. Cool, right? Like what have I always said about the podcast? I would love to have somebody across here that doesn't believe anything that I believe, so far left, and let's just have a conversation. Because to me, those are the moments that you learn something.
Yeah,
right?
You do.
You learn more about yourself, the person's thoughts,
or your beliefs.
But nowadays you could get on and say something, and you're wrong for saying it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I may be wrong.
Yeah.
But guess what? It's how I feel.
Well, it's wrong for a different reason. It's wrong because their ideology won't allow you to have that. You know what I mean? Your idea, it goes both ways.
Yeah, it's wrong because you disagree with that person.
Right.
I was like, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like the shit you're saying, I disagree. So does your value, or is your opinion and value more than mine? If you're here claiming like, no, that we're all in equal status.
Yeah. And I'll bring it back home to training within, you know, our specialties, you know, and what we're living. We see that all the time.
Oh yeah, constantly.
You know, constantly, and especially with, you know, the 2A movement, you know, private and public sector, and everything. We're seeing it even more so of just, you know, different instructors going down. Look, you may not. I mean, you see it.
Yeah,
you may
all the
not
time.
agree with what here's why I teach this. Just this last week was teaching. And we kept reiterating to everybody. Look, this is a way, not the way, right? Yeah. And I'll always preface it that. Yeah. And so help me God if I have a different opinion on something.
Yeah, and that's the thing that people can't handle that. Like that's the whole thing. It's just like,
dude.
Yeah, hey, this is not you know, just like I said, this is just my way. You can do any other way, but this is what I'm going to show you. And then people still can't handle that.
They can't handle it
because it's like, well, no, I learned this, or somebody taught me this because of this reason. And I was talking to Buck earlier. We were talking about like some of these people just are so experience driven on, I teach this because I experienced this. Well, hey, that's cool. That's a good lesson learned. But so many people have been through different experiences throughout, and they learn different things throughout their little journey.
Better.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I guarantee your experiences are far different than any of my experiences.
Yeah,
we could even look at operational differences.
Yeah,
you know, operational needs are so different. Go ahead.
Yeah, but no, we were just talking about this, me and Buck beforehand, like, because we were talking about tactics and stuff, and just tactics in general life. It's a constant evolving situation. You know what I mean? Like, and that, I think that can apply to everything.
It does. It absolutely does.
You have to constantly evolve to whatever situation they get. And I find this a lot in some of the times when we get together and we start teaching and stuff like that. I find people get locked in on certain situations. Like, so if whenever I come to this thing, I'm going to always do it like this. And you're like, no, you're not always going to do it like
until
that.
Until a couch is in your way.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Until you hit a California logger.
It's like, no, for this specific situation and area that we're in, like, this way works. You know, this can be a good outline.
Right.
But understand that you're going to have to branch out to make the best situation. And then we're talking about pros and cons, right?
Yeah, so let's talk about why that
always
is.
a way.
It makes
Yeah.
If you think about it, if you break it down, so I try and teach immutable laws, right? So these are laws, or these are parts of the problem or the fix rather, that if you don't do this, you can't accomplish this. And then, so how you get to this point, I could care less. How you stand, whatever. If you're giving me the outcome I'm asking you for, well, why would I change that? It doesn't make any sense unless it breaks an immutable law, unless you're doing something else. But success is a terrible teacher. It's a horrible, horrible teacher because you survive something, and then from that point forward, you are now emotionally attached to that, and we're designed to do that, right? So we're designed to order that information up. If I survive something, my hippocampus writes that in my brain in a different way, right? And so now I'm going to be emotionally attached to this forever. So it should be no mystery to us why we don't practice charity of ideas. And what I mean by charity is, if you're talking to me and you differ from me, I have to give your idea as much credence as I would my own. That's charity in conversation. Well, there's a reason in terms of tactics why we don't do that, and that's because of survival. Because of this deep need for us to write that on the sacred book.
Well, and you want to talk on a scientific level, you bring up the hippocampus and what'll happen to the individual, and then all of a sudden they revert when their sympathetic nervous system's going to shit.
Yeah,
they revert back to that experience, right? Or that affirmation of what their belief was in that moment in that time.
Absolutely.
Well, that's different, right?
Yeah, because it's circumstantial.
Yes, it's circumstantial. This is a life lesson.
Yeah.
Dude, if you think about it, I mean,
it 100% is.
It's so many things people think it's very, definite, final when they think about tactical stuff, right?
Finite.
Oh, yeah.
It's finite, yes. Yeah. It's only tactical. Dude, you know how many applications of tactical stuff we could think about?
Yes.
An assault, a situation, a time, a moment refers back to a life lesson.
Well, it's kinetic philosophy is what tactics
Well, you're
are.
smarter than me, so I don't know what kinetic philosophy is. Thank you, Buck, for making me feel dumb.
Hey, coin it.
I'll be here for the next hour.
T-shirt.
But that's what we talked about earlier. Your environment's going to dictate everything. You could teach one thing one way, but then that all goes out the window because of the environment you're in.
Yep.
So it's just like everybody has this grand illusion of how they train in such a static environment and how they're so eager to perfect it so fast, and you're still in a static environment. So nobody takes into consideration of like what type of environment you would be in.
Right, exactly.
It's
well, and
nuts.
it goes back to the comment, how many times have you used it as a cop? I stopped using it years ago, but
Me too.
I know what you've gone through. I've been there.
Oh, yeah, I've never. Yeah.
No, I've never been where you're at. There may be situations where I have.
Sure.
Lost family members, stuff like that. But if I'm sitting there talking to a dad that their daughters have been, their 5-year-old daughter's been sexually assaulted, I haven't gone through what you're going through.
No.
So therefore, I'm not going to have anything to relate to that, right? So at the same time, our second guest on the show that's been, was shot 9. I haven't been shot 9 times. So therefore, I'm not going to look at it the same way you do, right?
Yeah.
But what the difference is, and how we learn from leaders, in my philosophy is, and correct me if I'm wrong, and same, I'm assuming as an instructor and what you've learned over the years is, take something you like from that person.
Yeah. Oh, yes, absolutely.
Boom, I like that. I like that. I don't like that. I may not use that, right?
Yeah.
I like that. I like that, And that can be from anything.
Oh, yeah.
But the culture we're building in this nation,
yeah.
as far as I don't want any of that.
Yes,
Leave
exactly
that the
right.
fuck over there.
Yeah.
It don't work like that.
They're not on my team.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
they're
Well,
on
that
my
guy's
team.
not with. I was telling like 2 things that I think would do is one, the lack of wisdom that we have as individuals, right? Or just as people that we put out. And it's like wisdom. And you can like define what is wisdom. When wisdom is learning from other people's mistakes, learning from your mistakes, but then applying that to whatever problem that you have there to solve that problem. And then 2, which pisses me off, me and Buck were talking about this earlier, it's like, I wish I would have stole this, but Travis Haley, his big thing is thinkers before shooters. And the key word on that is thinkers, right? So thinking, right, actively thinking about what you're about to do before you go and perform that task, which applies to, that can apply to anything. Yeah.
Everything.
But the lacking of, those who think is wisdom in that moment. And then, because we were talking about like, well, I've been there. I've done that. I do that. My thing is like, hey, I understand that you're feeling this way, right? Because I always talk about emotions are extremely powerful, and you can never, you can never disvalue somebody's emotions, but you can always like affirm their emotion. Hey, it's okay that you're feeling this way. I understand that you're feeling this way, because you can't control the way that you feel, and I'm 100% a believer in that. You can call me a dickhead, right? And for some reason that just pissed me off, and you could tell me, hey man, I was just joking. I was like, I know you were just joking, and in my mind I'm thinking, I know he's just joking. I shouldn't be mad, but I am mad, and I'm mad at the fact that I'm mad. and I'm mad because I'm mad right now.
You're
You're
such
like,
a
yeah.
dickhead.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, why so angry?
Yeah.
Why so mad, bro?
I'm so mad, bro. But you as for other people, you can't disvalue that person's emotions or the way that they feel until they're ready to acknowledge and accept that and move on, which goes back into thinking, which goes back into wisdom. Well, what is wisdom? It's being emotionally mature, critically mature, all those things that play into it.
Well, the emotional thing is a fascinating thing to consider, because if you really tear it down to what it is, emotions are preconceived books that we can apply to a situation immediately, right? So, under SNS, we full amygdalic response. That's working quick.
Bro, you know how many times I've been teaching that word and like I'm like, dude, it happens.
The midbrain.
Yeah.
Midbrain.
Yeah, the thingy.
The
We always
amygdalic response.
We know everybody here is smart, so we can just say midbrain.
Yeah, that's good.
We always call like doctor brain and chimp brain.
The back brain.
Chimp brain.
The one in the back.
Yeah.
The back
What you call her, little general?
Yeah, the little general. I call it a little general. Yeah, because it doesn't do much, but when it does, man, it's going. But anyway, it's these emotions are essentially, if you think of them, these books that you can throw at a situation that you really don't have to be creative, because under that full amygdalic response, you got that prefrontal cortex atrophy, and creativity is not your strong suit. People don't think creatively as they fall out of airplanes at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're just doing enough to go.
Yeah. Oh,
okay, that's my altitude.
Yeah.
That's my altitude. This thing over here. That's the reason it's really big to grab.
Absolutely, I use that all the time.
Yeah.
1500.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing, man. I mean, if you think about it, we were talking about it today, this last week during training is, it's amazing what the human mind does under pressure.
It is
under stress.
It is.
And it's amazing what the mind can overcome, but it all comes back to what? Training.
Alcohol. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, wait, what?
Oh, Buck.
Training.
Training.
Comes back to training, exactly.
And so it's such an important part of your job.
And context.
Yeah, and context.
Yeah.
I'm curious though. Have we seen? Is it solely law enforcement training you do, or it's training?
Military as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So
it's
actually
law enforcement and military, or is it any civilian?
Yeah. So we're starting to do some civilian open enrollment classes soon. Actually, July this month.
That'd be awesome.
But I've taught a bunch of civilians.
Yeah.
Kind of in that interim.
Why from Aimpoint's perspective? Why moving into the open enrollment? Was there obviously there was a conscious decision there? Was there any one reason why?
Yeah, it was me. I wanted to do it, and I honestly just wanted the diversity. I very much enjoy teaching civilians. I feel like an emissary to the gun world. I really do. And I'm not tooting my own horn here, but I think as an instructor, your job, before knowing anything about what you're teaching, is finding the way they communicate, finding a channel to communicate with them. So you should kind of be the elastic part of the program. The military and law enforcement typically is the opposite of that. I'm going to give you something, you can pick it up if you want to, and if not, I can care less.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it makes me a better instructor to teach basic pistol courses to people who have never picked up a gun, because I have to find a way to talk to that person. I have to find a way to get through their fear. I have to find a way to get through their preconceived notions, their biases, their prejudices against guns, whatever. And it just makes me better. It makes me much, much stronger. And I think it makes us as a community much stronger, because when you get, an NRA range Nazi introducing somebody to a gun, they're probably never coming back.
Yeah,
what I mean? They're probably never coming back. So I'm not saying I'm better than that. I'm just saying that.
No, you are. You are. That's why Aimpoint hired you. Good job, Aimpoint. No, dude, you hit the nail on the head, and I'm glad you went there. And the same thing goes for Trark. And you've seen, I mean, a lot of the instructors associated and the cadre associated with Aimpoint Trark is a lot of them were solely law enforcement, military. Now they're doing open enrollment, right?
Yeah. Well, no, not solely, but in the sense of
it was primarily
it was somewhere and some weren't. But we try to kind of have that diversity where some were primarily this, some were specialized in that. But honestly, it just became an blend of all of them, really.
Yeah.
Honestly, so and we love having that diversity because everybody has something different to offer.
Yeah.
And that's why we bring them on board, because just like I said, not one person's instruction is finite, right?
Yeah.
And somebody can also bring something different to the table, and every single one of these instructors will have that in mind, so to speak. So
well, and to me, it's humbling in the fact of two things. Number one, we have more guns gun owners this year, right? I mean,
Yeah.
let's look at it factually, right? The statistics
by
are
a
out
long
there,
way.
right?
Yeah.
You know, let's just say all 5 million of those background checks in March were brand new gun owners. I'm sure a lot of them were just repeat, but let's say they were all brand new gun owners, right? I would encourage all of them to go get training. And so much of the good training to me was within the law enforcement and military range. You know, there was a lot of private instructors, but the vast majority of them were catering so much to law enforcement military. And so now that companies are taking the step to offer this training to civilians is huge and I think vital, because we do have so many people that how many of these people have never picked up a gun that one got one and now they're carrying one, right? We have some of these new laws that went into effect in Texas, you know, an open carry law. You know, you don't no longer need a license. You just go get a gun and start carrying it on your hip. I want you to be trained.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? I'm not saying it's a must because
It's
I
a
believe
responsibility.
I believe in your rights, but damn, if you're gonna pull out a gun in a busy supermarket or that concert when something's going south,
Please.
please.
Well, that's the crazy thing. You're saying you're not trying to infringe on anybody's rights, but then who's quick to judge somebody if they're shooting poorly?
Yeah, that's
Right?
true.
Yeah.
Very good
So you
point.
go on the range and somebody's out there, man.
So do you look at that? Here's a question. Do you look at the requirement of training by said entities, governments, whatever it is, as an infringement?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I do. Because, I mean,
There's some people that don't believe that is.
I
think
think
it is.
It isn't. But here's the thing, though. It's up to other, like when you say community, well, then if you see somebody struggling at the range, well, then help them out.
Yeah.
Don't make fun of them. Don't say they can't shoot you. That's the whole thing about like being inclusive to everybody, where don't separate anybody. Don't isolate anybody because they're not good at what they're doing. Like,
Help 'em.
Help
Yeah.
them out.
Yeah, I agree.
Dude, like, I don't understand what the freaking problem is. But the whole thing of just like making fun
Mine
of
not
some
supposed to
people
be
or
cussing because
criticizing.
he just said freaking. I've never heard him say freaking.
Well,
Dude.
you're
You know what? It makes me mad. I want to cuss.
yeah.
I'm trying to hold
Reserve
myself to
myself.
a higher
Better
standard.
improved Chris.
Look, it's better improved because last time I got drink with you guys, I was not improved. So,
They make for
No.
great episodes, bro.
yeah, it does make great for no.
I think, so government has one hammer, essentially. I think government does two things exceptionally well. I think it kills people and spends money. And you know what I mean? So if you kind of go backwards from that, what that would mean is if government mandated training, it would mean that if you don't do what I want you to do, you can't have it. So that draws a pretty direct line to infringement, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's almost it's personal responsibility.
government training here. Most of us have experienced it.
Yeah.
It's just
No.
other-
That's what comes to personal responsibility within the community, like just kind of spreading the word and getting people to know, like, hey, help each other out.
Yeah.
Right?
And
We can police ourselves.
Yeah.
Within that two community, but do we?
It's very unique, man. You know, I keep reverting back to. I'm glad we did this. I'm glad I met with you. I wish we'd met before. I always love talking to trainers. You know, I'm not the best trainer in the world. I hope I never.
am.
I want to. Fuck. Ballsy, but he is. I mean, it's.
I was like, Buck's the best trainer in the world. You gotta have him on the show.
You know, and I would never look at myself. Let's say I've done it all in the world, right? I would never look at myself as, you know, the cat's meow on that, because to me, I'm not me. I know you're joking around, but you never stop learning, have you?
Absolutely not. No,
I mean,
no.
you always want to seek out more training for yourself to become a more route. And this past week, you know, it was weird. I never talk about our agency, and I never will, or what it is, and I'm very thankful for our agency. But these classes we had this week, we were teaching as instructors. We had some individuals that were more on our admin side than law enforcement side of our house, and some of them have never picked up a gun. And it was at first very stressful for me getting on the line and having somebody that's never had a gun, and then, you know, some other cops that haven't trained in a year, you know, because doing in service, you know, we haven't really had it. And it's funny you talk about having to really change the way you instruct in those times, and I forget how you put it, but how I'm going to relate that information to them. I found myself saying the buzzwords that I would say in normal in service. You can't say that to a person that's never picked up a gun, and she's looking at this Glock 17 strapped on her hip, and she's nervous. I see her heart, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like you take a step back and you got to go, okay, I've got to revert back to the very basics of the instruction. And it's humbling, right?
Yeah.
And I wish more people were seeking that as far as instructors go.
You know, it's fascinating. You would think that would be the baseline skill, but it's not.
No.
Because training is so informed by military and law enforcement. And the problem with it is, at its core, who's the customer? You know, when you're going through military and law enforcement training, who's the customer? It's not the student. It's the person that wants 50 officers on the street tomorrow. So really,
That's fucking good.
yeah. What goes on is they, as an instructor, it's easy. Yeah. High attrition rate. I mean, we even say that a high attrition rate's a good thing. It's not a good thing. That typically means you're just not doing your job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm speaking in one language. It's not for them. It's for the, the administrator that wants that many people. They can either pick it up or they can put it down. But either way, I'm not coming to them at all. And we miss so much. Those folks, those admin folks you're talking about, just because we won't make, I mean, you did, I'm not saying you didn't, but just because we won't make the effort to get to them, we miss all the ideas they have. And
Yes.
hey, let's be honest.
Well, no, it's amazing you said that, because I'm sitting there and she was struggling with something I typically don't see within law enforcement shooters, right? Or something, I mean, I see, but more of the rookie officer, right? Instructing rookies versus 10-year officers that I don't really have to tell them, hey, what you're doing wrong. Like, okay,
Yeah.
And so then it was like refreshing of like having to remember how to teach that and instruct that portion and segmenting that out. But I just worry that we're at a point in our nation where we're not paying the same attention to the civilian market as we are the law enforcement military as far as training and building responsible. I think we're headed there, right? Yeah. I mean, average Joe, stuff like that, the stuff the companies are doing, Aimpoint's doing, opening up your thing. There's so many new gun owners. Are we able to catch up?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think that's a problem. Well, I mean, I also think it's a culture that we want to build. Post World War II, you had the CMP, that civilian marksmanship program thing. That was, interestingly, it was a government program to develop marksmanship among the populace. So we wanted to do that. I don't think there's a will to do. Obviously, clearly, there's not a will to do that now. But so it's a cultural effort. It's got to be a cultural effort to do. And I think to do that, the first thing that you have to do is take away the tight T-shirts with skulls on them.
No.
Excuse me, this is Tack Hunt Fish.
Yeah, I wish.
I'm not giving up my skull shirts.
I mean, I'm not gonna show you the next shirt.
Well, no, man, I don't think it's necessary. It's not necessarily that.
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but I know what he's saying. He's because you walk
Jess,
into
will you go ahead and cancel that order?
Yeah,
It's
please don't. I want that. I want that so bad. But I understand what I know what you mean. It's like this. It's that they come down in instructions like, oh, you're an idiot, and they talk dumb to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're there to learn, and you've given a little bit of vulnerability, right? So I'm like, I trust this person. I'm gonna be vulnerable with them, right?
That's what you make fun of me, bro.
It was a joke.
No, it's not a joke. It's not a joke.
I think it's so that shirt's gonna be so bad.
It's not. It's not. It's
shut up and let me finish what I was saying. But as a student, right, you go into something, especially as a new student, you go into something and you realize, hey, I'm new at this. I know I'm not going to be good. And there's a certain sense of vulnerability there, right? Which we talk about emotions and everything else. So, and you're trusting that instructor or that teacher at that moment to teach you and to guide you along and not to make you feel stupid. But what do we see? You see the guys in the fucking tights, like with the, fucking old school Oakley big ass glasses on and like, oh, you fucking idiot, and they talk shit behind you. And like, that's not an instructor.
No.
You're
a range safety officer.
Yeah,
at best.
you're not. You can't
They make you feel dumb. Well, how many times that's scaring people away from
all
the
the
in-prime?
time. All the
You're just
time.
like, oh, this guy came in here and blah blah, and they did this. I'm like, yeah, of course he did, because they don't fucking know. Nobody knows. That's your job as a teacher.
Well, and that's
is
even,
to teach.
dude, that's even a law enforcement, right? Look, there's a time and a place to shut the fuck up, sit there and be quiet, right?
Yeah.
There's a part of going through that adversity, right?
Yeah.
That militaristic, that regiment, right?
That's tradition.
But that's tradition, right? But there's a time when we're sitting on a flat range teaching a rookie how to shoot, and I can't get frustrated with them.
Yeah.
And because some of these people, literally, how many times in an academy, never picked up a gun.
Yeah.
And so I don't want them to be scared of me as well as now the gun.
Well, yeah, and that's the other thing. You bring up a great point. The other problem with military and law enforcement training is, are we training or are we measuring? Because when you give that kid a pistol and, 2 days later he's got to shoot, a qual, you're just measuring them. Or you give him a pistol and the same day you give him the stress analog, the pro timer, beep, you know what I mean? You're not teaching that kid anything. You're measuring that kid. And they're different. They're fundamentally different. If you haven't installed the skill set in that kid, made sure they know it, and then measured the efficacy of your training, all you're doing is
Well, we start affecting repetitive feedback loop, right?
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
So, you know, it's like we start putting a kink in that
Yep.
to where when we have them do something on demand, it's broken because we've inserted quite frankly, ourselves.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
into that.
Well, you know, what we've done is we've taken skill is a biological process. That's all it is. You know, we like to.
That's why I don't have any of it.
That's right. I'm lacking. Well, we like to mystify it because it makes us great as trainers. You know what I mean? I have a vested interest in making what I'm doing look hard because it makes me look better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's a very simple biological process. So your myelination of the nerve axon and all that jazz. So it's a very fixed thing. It's you know, we process information about the same. We myelinate about the same. There's no freaks among us. 60 bits per second is what the average.
Well, and people
processing
don't
speed.
understand that, like, as instructors, you directly, I mean, if you think about it, we're forming brains, right?
Yeah, you are.
I mean, look, and I say we as instructors. I'm not an instructor, right? Like, I mean, we just
not?
instruct within the agency, you know.
People are going to feel ripped off.
No,
I know.
no.
I kind of
Like,
he told me
you know-
how he needed a range to teach a class.
No, I do. But I'm talking about like,
Hey.
you know, on a nation. I mean, you guys that are on a nationwide, you know, are truly instructors and impacting all, you know. And I'm just being humble, anyways. I'm an instructor, whatever. How we truly have a way of forming the myelin in people's brains.
Yeah.
And we ourselves can stop that by forming by the way we teach, right?
Yeah.
By the lack of certain drill. Go ahead.
No, I was like, myelin for everybody is just like muscle memory.
Yeah.
Essentially.
That's the dumbed down version. Myelin equals muscle memory. You're welcome.
And so, and,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Way dumbed down.
and the thing we've seen, you know, how many times, I just said it this last week, I don't want to,
Oh,
Val's in here, I got scared.
actually,
My soul just stopped. Some cubes of ice, that'd be awesome.
there's a box on my desk. If you can bring that, please.
And a few cubes of ice.
Oh, cubes.
We're having too much
Big
fun.
cups, cube.
But you know, how many times have you said it? I don't want to create a training scar.
Training scar.
Right? A training scar.
But how often do you create the
Oh
training
my
scar?
God. How many times
Yeah.
have you, and you look back and you're like, damn it.
Yeah.
You know, I've created that training scar.
Well,
you know?
I don't look at it as a training scar. I look at it as, you know, if you're training, period. You could be training them to a bad outcome, or you could be training them to a good outcome.
Yeah, that's
know what I
good.
mean?
I mean,
Yeah.
that's a way to put it in. I mean, it's very black and white, but yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you are. So I when people go fast, I'm a big proponent of going very, very slow, because I think training, so skill is its own thing, right? There's production of myelin and so on and so forth. But training, very simply, is the removal of inefficiencies and the installation of efficiencies. That's all it is. So if you're the guy that is, you know, screaming at people on the range, the skill that you're teaching is to be afraid of what they're doing. So you're teaching them. You're just teaching them the wrong thing. You're just not there teaching them that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think that I tell folks all the time when they go super fast, hey, congratulations, you're bad fast forever.
That's awesome. Aimpoint, you did good. Aimpoint, you did good. You did good. No, that's good. That's good. Chris, anything on that?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I'm like,
All
I'm
right.
making
I thought
sure
you
that-
were fixing to say
No,
something.
I'm
so-
making sure like the booze is coming in.
Oh, okay.
on my desk.
I thought he was looking down like he was fixing to say something. He's
Ice.
like,
Ice. I said
so,
ice.
he's so bored. He's texting on his
No,
phone.
no, I'm trying to say, like,
And
hey-
by the way, if you ever see us texting, most of the time we're trying to communicate with Jess or there's something we
Yeah.
need in the
Yeah.
background.
I need-
Please, more booze.
I need more booze. I'm like, hey, hurry up.
So I'm gonna take a quick turn just on product development.
Quick turn.
Yeah.
The P2, bro.
Yeah, it's coming.
Dude,
It's here,
that
actually.
is that right there.
You like it?
Push the market, bro.
Yeah.
Push the market. Here's the deal. The first iteration, the
P1?
P1, right? Battery life.
Yeah.
That was the only reason I held off.
Yeah.
That was the only reason I held off.
Yeah.
And now,
Yeah, no reason to. So let's talk about that. It's a very interesting thing. I use the P1 now on a carbine, which is
Really?
If you haven't done it yet,
so I've thought about throwing it on my 8.3.
you
Do
should.
it.
Yeah.
Do it.
You absolutely should. It's we'll get into that later, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But it's very good. That's
So,
awesome.
and here's the deal. So open. I mean, for those that don't know, I mean, a lot of y'all listen to our episodes and aren't necessarily gun people, and which is awesome that y'all tune in. And I'm hoping each one of y'all go buy a gun whenever we have these episodes.
and a
Right?
skull
It's like,
t-shirt.
yeah, I don't even
And
like.
a
I don't
sweet
even
ass.
really like guns, but I love this episode. Right? Like, go buy a gun. Okay, here we are, episode. You know, so on and so on. So close emitter, optic, for handguns, and now I guess for it's really anything.
For anything, really.
why the change? Was it the people asking, like the demand? People were requesting it for the CR 2030.
Exactly, for 2032. So initially, we had to find a way within the footprint, because people think about how tall it is, but the footprint is the same, to have a battery as well as the electronics, the efficiency of the electronics to produce for any real length of time. So it was, so we had to need a small battery was a way to do it. So essentially, well, not essentially, absolutely.
Oh, then I'll take that one.
What the engineers did, the R&D engineers did, was completely pioneer really a whole new set of electronics to accomplish something in the same footprint.
But it's a little smaller, isn't it?
No, it's not. It looks it.
It looks
kind of the buttressing makes it look it.
The shape gives that illusion, but the battery's straight on the side. You can see the disc.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool.
So that's what they did, and so it's interesting. It's just like oversimplifying a car. Like, well, it's a car like any other car, but it's completely redesigned inside to support a 5-year battery, and it's a 5-year battery.
No, y'all definitely, Scott Jelinski puts it perfectly. Y'all pushed the industry, right?
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. The more industry push, especially for the law enforcement. I mean, I've been running T2. I mean, I've got several T2s on my rifles, but now I've got to try this out for my 8.3.
Oh man, all you see. So
hey, I got one in the back I can sell you. It's in this case right now.
Nah, my wife says no.
No?
I've got 2 guns.
I can T&E it for you really well.
Yeah, I'll T&E it all day long, baby.
Hold on.
We will never get that T&E back.
Hold on. We're gonna do this new thing.
Yeah,
we're gonna do this new thing. T&E.
Yeah, I keep. I bothered Wayne about it, so he came out. Wayne from y'all, Wayne Dobbs, our
Wayne.
Yeah. I'm always so scared of him, when he demo stuff. But he came out, and I was like, I'll gladly T&E whatever you would like me to T&E for the next, lifetime.
Yeah.
Till it breaks. How about that?
Yeah. But no, man, I'm really excited about this because I've really wanted to go to a closed emitter, not for this argument, guys, of like mud on your optic, whatever. Okay, whatever. It's an argument that's a moot point to me.
Yeah.
Because what happens if you get mud on your front sight or your rear sight? I mean, it's the same thing.
If you get mud in your eye.
Yeah, you mud in your eye. I mean,
Here's some on your eye.
Anyways, but I love that y'all are pushing the market in that area, especially closed emitter.
Yeah.
And I think it's by far the best closed emitter optic on the market.
Yeah, it's tough. It's extremely tough, which is one of the reasons I wanted to work for Aimpoints, because I trust I wore I did wear a Comp M4 for a long time, and when the micros came out, I didn't switch out because I just trusted the thing absolutely. It wouldn't break.
Oh, it's just freaking indestructible.
Yeah,
it's a tank.
Yeah,
Dude, I've run the T2.
Yeah, dude, I love my
all the time.
T2s.
Well, and I had the Comp 5 too for the longest time. Even that, man, I would take that off and throw it on another one. Held 0.
Yeah. And here's the deal. Even the patrol optic, right? You think, okay, less money, more mass produced type,
Yeah,
that thing was a bear, dude.
Well, so here's the thing. There's a production standard, period. So Aimpoint will not put something out that's going to fail on you. It just won't do it. So, no matter what scale you buy, essentially you're buying form and you're buying really toughness. So that Comp M5 will survive the apocalypse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
T2 will survive like 6 months into the apocalypse, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
That's fine.
Yeah, they're
I'll tell you right now, man, it's worked great.
Yeah, dude. That to me, the smaller the better. That's why I'm interested now about this P2.
Oh yeah, all you'll see is the red
put it
dot.
on there.
Have y'all run it on a 10.5 or anything longer, or anything like that?
Oh yeah, I've run it on a Mark 18. Yeah, it's absolutely.
Baby.
It just disappears. All you see is the red dot, which is exactly what you should see.
Come on, get one. Get one.
I think you should buy it.
Guess what? We have some
My
on
birthday's
order.
in a few weeks. My birthday's in a few weeks.
We have some on order.
We have too many things that we
we have some on order. You don't need to buy one.
Between the OZ9 and the Tri 11, I can't do that to you, babe. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's I agree. I think
you.
it's what I tell people is the box, made of Swedish unobtainium or whatever it is. It's protecting your cognitive process. That's really what's going on, because if it is interrupted for any reason, the idea, this fairy tale that you're going to smoothly transition to your front sight and nested in the context of come on, man.
No, so I was talking about this week. They were, the argument comes up. We give the argument, within 7 yards. Why are we doing so much of these? Because we taught a specific class, right? Mm-hmm. Precision handgun, and we did a lot from the 7 yards. Well, why for the 7 yards? Well, majority of handgun engagements within law enforcement are from the 7 yards are in. And this whole argument of all these guys that saw their front sight picture amongst bullshit.
Combat shooting.
Yeah.
You saw the person shooting at you.
You know, and I was giving one of my buddies that's on a Fuji, and he's going to listen to this, and he's going to, you know, I'm going to give him shit. He's a fucking hell of a shooter. And he had this raggedy hole, and he's running a red dot, right? He had this raggedy hole, one hole, which is great. Like, cool, finite, but really, that's why I love target focus, right? Like combat effective fire.
Focus,
you know, threat focus. Just put the dude down, right?
Yeah.
And I'm curious as far as instructing goes. I mean, we've always got to have some precision portion of it, right? To dial in our, you know, our groups and to be a more precise shooter. But how much of training nowadays is going to threat focus and combat effective fire instead of just getting this tight little group? Like, look, I just put the dude down, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I teach discipline in terms of accuracy. I mean, I teach, the standard for me is baseball size accuracy, high center chest. That's what I'm looking for. You know what I mean? Above the nipple line, below the shoulder, centered.
But how many agencies have you gone to that's still shooting the B-24 with the X right in the middle? And you know, well, let's put it this way: where's that X really? Right? Electrical, plumbing, and structure.
Right.
I mean, but when you shoot him in the gut, it ain't even anything, right?
Right.
Like this dude's still going to come at you.
It's so funny. I talked to the guy that designed the Transtar 2. You guys familiar with the Transtar? Yeah. There at Fletsy, and I was kind of bagging on it. You know. Thing, and he was like, yeah,
this thing's pure shit.
Back when I designed it, I was like, oh.
I know. Because I would have done the same thing. I would have been totally dogging it. Yeah.
It's kind of like the skull t-shirt moment.
Yeah, well,
hey, hold on. Hey, you know, I think you need to show him.
But
the
he
picture.
really hates really hates
I love it.
I'll show it to him.
It's just an easy example.
I mean, we're not talking like who still wears an affliction tee.
Can we get the skull t-shirt with like the blue, red, and green stripe? That'd be dope.
Yeah,
please, all of them.
That's my point. Yeah, you made it better. You made it better. So anyway, so I teach. Really, when I'm shooting for any distance, and when I really want to see a group is just when I'm shooting. Oh yeah, come on. That's like the bones, the Palo Peralta bones with nods on. Yeah. Yeah.
We weren't supposed to say anything. Buck just busted our shirt wide open.
Shirt reveal, drop reveal.
Anyway,
no, it's all good.
I didn't say what kind of nods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It closed in the dark. It closed in the dark.
Trash.
The ones we can't afford.
So anyway, I just look. What I really want to see is your fundamentals and your discipline. But beyond that, most everything else is inside 10 yards, and I'm looking for infrastructure shots. In other words, you know, everything that has to come together to make that work. You know what I mean? I'm a big fan when you talk about threat focus. I'm a big fan of solving problems downrange as opposed to uprange. You know, so when we're at the gun, when you're solving problems, especially as primates, most of us, you know, when you start solving problems with your hands, your eyes go to your hands.
Yeah. More
importantly, your eyes are kind of figurative of what's happening in your brain, right? Like if you miss the mag sweep, your head goes down here.
Yeah.
It's not your eyes that you're worried about. It's your head. It's like being on a cell phone, right? What's so bad about being on a cell phone? It's not that you're looking at the cell phone. It's that you're in Tuscany with the picture you're looking at. You know what I mean? You're completely removed from the scenario. So that's the problem, in my opinion, of you know, problem solving at the gun. It's not that you're here. It's that you're not there. You know what I mean? So threat focus it's what we always do. You know, the folks that say, you know, that they would. I don't know. I always ask guys, do you threaten or do you come back to the pepper spray can? Do you ever do that? No, you don't do that. You know, you concentrate down there.
Well, and you think about it, it's very, you brought it up primal, right? Like think about it. The guy shooting the buffalo, was he threat focused or was he looking down two planes of sight picture?
Yeah.
You know, no.
Yeah.
Right? You know, he was threat focused. You know, the guy throwing the spear, was he threat focused or was he was he front sight focused? No. Yeah. You know, it wasn't until we wow, good throw. Wow. That went like 2 inches. Yeah. You know, it wasn't until we put, you know, I keep bringing up Scott, but you know, it wasn't until we put two things on a gun and we start to get all funky, right? And we change what we fundamentally do, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why, to me,
biology.
Front sight focus was always so weird to me.
Yeah.
Even when I started learning, it was weird for me. And it was harder for me.
Well, it is weird.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing. You know, so.
But yet it's what we teach.
Right. The Cape Buffalo is attacking you. What I want you to do is stop looking at it and looking at this little thing. And then I want you to negotiate with this mechanical
Two
language.
planes and go. Yeah,
exactly
cool.
right.
And then I got a clear front sight, you know?
It is. This is a language. It's essentially a mechanical language.
So why do you think this is such, that's why I love red dots.
Yeah.
I've been on a red dot for so long now. That's why I'm such a firm believer. It was easier for me because it just made sense to me.
Yeah.
But why is this something that we force down people's throats?
Okay, so here's the thing about the red dot, and I was telling Buck this the other day, is that when I was in the military, I was in that whole phase, I think it was like 99, where red dot started implementing onto M4s. And the old school dudes were fucking mad. They hated it. And they were teaching us some fucked off way to like aim the red dot. We're like, oh, look through your rear sight and then put it on top of your front sight. And you're like, I'm lining three things up at once. It doesn't make sense.
This sounds like an efficiency.
Yeah, it's an efficiency. And then the dude out there doing PMI is like, no, just put the dot in that. But this guy's telling me one thing, and these old dudes are telling me like it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
They didn't accept it. But it's the whole thing is transitioning to pistols. And don't get me wrong, like when I first put it on there, after a good solid day of training, and then awesome dude, hey Frank, shout out to Frank Proctor. I took a course with him.
Man, that
used
guy
red,
can
yeah,
run.
used red dot on that whole course. And dude, after that, changed everything.
Yeah.
I want a dot. Not to say I can't. I understand the whole concept of iron sights, but going through that class and making him just kind of how he teaches in the sense of like, you know, his whole thing with visual journey. You're watching that dot, and he's just the technique he teaches. It made sense to me. Running 3 days with that course, I'm all about
cheating.
it now.
It's
It
cheating.
is
Of course
cheating.
it is.
It's
Well, it's
not
not
100%.
cheating. It's using the biology you're given.
Yeah, right.
So the difference is walking
But
to school
so
on a
that's what I'm
tightrope or a
saying.
sidewalk.
That's
You know
what I'm
I mean?
saying. The fact now that I look at that as cheating. So why is this such a principle that we're still teaching basic
Because-
recruits?
you know why?
To front sight focus.
Because so many of these people put so much of their time and effort into using irons, they can't let it the fuck go.
Yeah. Hey, that's
They
why,
can't let it to go, dude. That's
yeah,
what it is.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's ego and production.
ego.
Of,
That falls into everything though.
Yeah.
That goes into like, well, this is the way I've done it. This is the way we've always done it.
Yeah, let it the fuck go.
I'm not saying that there is a massive difference between that's the way we've always done it and tradition. Tradition instills, and which comes with history, tradition and history instills pride, instills investment, instills emotional investment into why you do what you do, right? Where you came from, right? That's what tradition is. It's where you came from versus this is the way we've always done it because that's the way we've always done it is wrong. It's like, that doesn't make any sense to me. If there is a way we can do it better and more efficient and like it's tactically more sound or whatever it is, it's more comfortable, it's this, and this, why would we not go in that direction? Yeah. Right? It just makes sense.
Well,
it's like,
you know,
I don't get it.
In the middle of the shot, so I was at FBI's FTU, and there was a guy there, really accomplished shooter, been around for a long time, and just a prince of a guy, but he had
For
significant.
people don't know, the FTU is what?
The firearms training unit, in Quantico, they
And
own.
and they pump out everything to the local agencies, the state agencies.
Yeah, what
you
they
know?
do, you do. What they do, everybody does. And they're great. They really are great. For any bad press the FBI gets, I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I know it's not right at the FTU. They're very
Some
good.
arguments there.
Come on, man.
So anyway, this guy was struggling, and I always ask when I'm teaching a red dot class, which is all the classes I teach now, who hates them? Who hates these pistol mounted optics largely, and it'll always be people with significant history shooting. And this is my working theory that you've trained yourself to, at some point, usually about right in here, to start driving that gun based on feedback, right? Driving that gun. And that's significant in that it is something that we are doing manipulative. We are moving that gun, and it's prefrontal cortex. It's front brain thinking, right? Which we're very comfortable with. We're exceptionally comfortable with. When you don't do that, it feels like you've lost your wallet. It feels like you're missing your keys. If something's missing, something vital that I'm not doing, because
It's their safe space.
it is their safe
That's what I
space,
call it.
right.
That's what I've been. That's what I've been telling everybody. I was like, look, the front side is your safe space.
Yeah,
right?
exactly right.
That's all you know. So I can't. I'm trying to write. The first thing I would tell you, I'm trying to take you out of your safe space.
Yeah.
But just hear me out, right? Yeah. And it's not a 1 day thing.
No,
It's not a 2 day
no.
thing.
No, it's not. It goes
Yeah.
it goes a while, but our relationship between our hands and our eyes is deep and significant. There's good science right now that says the reason our eyes are in the front of our faces and not on the sides is not because we're predators. It's because we can orient towards our hands.
Yeah.
So when you take that away from somebody, especially under stress, and it may just be performance stress or it could be, existential stress, when you take that away, their safe space is gone. They don't feel comfort in the shot. And what I'm asking you to do is work a lot less, work a whole lot less. And it's asympathetic. And, so I do a thing called a stop drill. So I'll, have them doing presentations. And at some point or another, I'll just say, stop. And they stop. And they're looking at a fully completed aiming solution. And they're not pressing the trigger.
Yeah.
It's not getting any better. In fact, it may get worse.
Make it worse, yeah,
right.
yeah.
But it's not getting any better, and they're not shooting. And they're not shooting because they're so accustomed to this hand-eye coordination satisfaction they get out of driving and pressing that gun. So it's always the older folks, and when I say older, I mean significantly experienced folks that get that. People that are new to shooting with the red dots, super fast.
Yeah,
super
baseball
fast.
players. I found that baseball players, man, the hand-eye coordination for whatever reason. Anyways,
Yeah,
fun
well,
observation.
I'm
You
a,
will get there.
Yeah,
We're
I'm a
gonna
novice
we're
in
gonna
red.
get you there.
Listen, I'm a novice in red dot shooting, but I am a 100% a believer.
Yeah.
Me and my buddy went out to the range and took my red dot, put it on the pistol that I had, and we again, we're YouTubers. We fucking watch your videos. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what we do. And we went out there and we messed around.
Okay, you're not. Don't
Shut up. You know what? Everybody knows what I'm talking
No,
about.
a lot of people don't. And
YouTube watchers.
You're you're not.
She's
Yeah.
like, you should put that red
He's
dot
not
on
a-
that.
yeah.
Oh, Jesus, here we go.
There's certain pages you are not associated with.
But you get you follow scenes. You get you get the basics, right? What everybody's saying. And so we went out there and we applied those things. And even in that moment, 25 yards out, we were making single-handed dome shots.
Yeah.
With this, and that's with the Glock 19, Gen 5 Glock 19, freaking whatever you call it,
It's scary.
LE ammo, stuff, and your confidence level just
Yeah.
skyrocketed. I was like, oh yeah, you know what I mean? Like versus if I was to do that with iron sights, with two-hand shooting and with one eye closed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even then, I'm like, I don't know if I can make this.
Yeah.
But a single-handed red dot shot for 25 yards that we spend maybe 30, 45 minutes dicking around trying to figure out how to do this thing.
Well, and
we
it's
were
funny,
killing it.
implementing it within an agency. We're working on implementing everything within our agency and coming up with lesson plans and policy. Which I agree there needs to be policy in place because I really, quite frankly, don't want you showing up with certain red dots on your gun for duty use, right? And which I wrote in the P2 as one of the approved ones.
Thank
so
you.
Aimpoint,
Cheers.
shout out to the Uncommon Line podcast, www.theuncommonlinepodcast.com. Anyways, there's this fear, right, within chain of commands and we'll say general public of, red dots and everything. And I'm like, look, I'm taking away liability from you.
Yeah.
Well, that's a very good point.
I'm taking the liability away from you because what I'm doing is allowing you, that officer, to look at the entire circumstance instead of teaching something of, look right here, that was a cell phone. No, actually he was actually holding a cell phone. It wasn't a Glock 19 that you thought it was, right? Why? Because you were target focused.
As soon as that goes to court, and I'm shocked it hasn't happened thus far, where you were telling them that your POI says come off of the subject and come back to the gun.
Yes.
And you had an alternative.
Yes.
Some poor kid's going down for that.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
It could be, and right now, it could be a justified shooting.
Yeah.
But the fact that you mentioned that in court, the fact that was mentioned in your statement, I observed the suspect. I then obtained my front sight picture, and for that moment, I wasn't able to. And he grabbed the hostage.
Yeah.
And I accidentally shot the. Okay, you're fucked.
Yeah.
You're fucked.
An agency, I would go so far as to say a bureau, they think that's why they're switching. And actually, the opinion was there in the next 4 or 5 years, you won't have the option in America as a law enforcement officer not to carry.
Investigations. Georgia Bureau.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah,
We'll go with that.
I know. So let me ask you this: do you believe? Because I strongly believe this is where everybody will be 10 years from
But
now.
it's already
It
on
won't
the
take that
rifle,
long.
though. It's already on the rifle. That's what I understand. Like, why is the distinction so different?
We should have
It's
started
been on
with
the
the
rifle.
pistol, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Oh, I get-
100%.
I agree with you in the sense because it's a harder platform for some people to navigate.
Yes.
The whole thing is that it's been on a rifle for how many years?
Yeah, right.
So what's the problem?
And that's the other thing. I can lower your round count of, okay, look, for some agents, I don't agree with it. I don't agree with ever lowering standards
Of course.
to become efficient in something. But let's face it, some of these agencies, it's a business, right?
It
so it's calculating every bullet for the recruit in the academy. I can lower your round count and training for your recruit
Yeah.
You know, by having you switch to this platform. It just blows
making
my
them
mind.
more effective shooters.
And
too.
making that, yeah, I can almost make them a better shooter in a less time. I don't want to. I want all that time I can. So don't take that away from me. But, yeah.
The way I go with that argument is, if you're going to reduce that time. So, you know, again, if we're talking about the measure, right? So I need you to get to this metric. I can get you this metric faster. Now, what I want you to do after that metric, after the majority of your students meet that metric, is go into discriminatory shooting. So now teach the kid what they really need to know.
Yeah.
You know, teach them basic tactics and who to shoot and who not to shoot. Because we don't do that now.
No.
I mean, we really don't do that now.
Where do you
Anywhere.
think, well, not only that, but I would say, where do you think that needs to be implemented? Discrimination. In this discrimination shooting, which is a massive hole
huge problem.
in training and what we talk about.
And especially on the civilian side.
Yeah.
Because I think
it was
gives.
it was self-defense.
Yeah, because it gives a different perspective of our jobs.
Absolutely. Yeah.
100%. Oh, God.
Yo.
I got the drop in 15 minutes. Anyways.
So
Unless you want to do checkout for me, babe. Cool.
So I think it, I mean, obviously it should be early on, but so what we've done, I think what Red Dots on pistols have done is demystified shooting. It's not hard anymore. Mm-hmm. The other day, I don't know if you were there, Chris, but we were shooting at 175 yards on steel. You know,
Where was I? What was I about?
you were training.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
training.
I was
You're in Reveille Peak having like a heat stroke.
Whoa.
And shit.
We don't need to mention where we do our training. Huh.
All I know is you're having a heat
It's just
stroke.
gonna bleep when it records.
It blurs them out randomly. Why'd I do that? I don't know.
Oh, you
That
mean
was really
that one place where everybody goes and shoots?
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
one
dude.
town that's super popular. So, yeah.
Certain people go there and certain people have their emblem everywhere, which drove me crazy. Anyways.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, we've demystified it. It's not hard anymore. And anybody can do it, which is another reason that people with significant history hate it. But so let's get done with the initial training. This is a simple tool. This is a very simple way to use it. And now let's go to the hard stuff, which is shoot, no shoot. You know,
Yeah,
those kinds of
thinking,
things.
man. Like I
Yeah.
said, man. Fuck, I wish I would have still
See,
driving.
think, shoot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to keep it at that. I'm like, say ours. Yes.
Yeah.
See, think, shoot.
You
So-
can change it
Thinkers-
up. You could be like, be thoughtful before you shoot.
Well, I would say, man, I wish I would have fucking stole Travis Hastings, thinkers before shooters. That is like that.
That guy's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Man. He is beautiful.
Leave him alone.
Buck, I've had a few drinks. I think you're beautiful, man. I think you're beautiful, man. My wife was like, he's I'm like, babe, come on, I'm right here. He's a beautiful older man.
That's
Good save.
Shut up. Shut your mouth.
Which one did you pour me now?
Red breast. Sherry cask.
We had that at. We had that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
That's dangerous stuff.
Very.
At
That place.
that one spot.
Yes.
Texas Gun Experience when we did Bareface Jim's
Jim, yeah.
Bareface's episode.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good night.
God
It
damn.
was a good night.
It was a good
That
night.
guy, man.
That
And
good,
fucking-
yeah.
That
So
dude's
let me
wild.
ask you this. So I want to go back to my original question: where we're
Sure.
going in 10 years, as far as that. What is Aimpoint? I mean, is obviously
Yeah.
the progressive in their technology? I mean, are they seeing that culture switch?
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's interesting because I think I think probably the contemporary industry doesn't look at Aimpoint as innovative, but it really is. It's
I wouldn't think that at all.
yeah. We get it.
I mean,
a lot,
y'all. I guess I could see that. I
We
mean,
have
y'all do what y'all do very well.
yeah, they do. They make it. They're all made in Sweden. It's exceptional. I was talking to the marketing manager today, and my thinking anyway, is they should be unapologetic about being class leaders. They should, because of the innovation.
Yeah.
It's durable innovation,
Yeah.
that kind
Yeah.
of thing, as opposed to just new gewgaws and that kind of thing. But yeah, no, I innovation is very, very strong, and some of the things I'd love to be able to tell you, but some of the things that I hear, man, my mind is
Pour him another drink.
Yeah.
Pour him another drink right
Well,
now.
not only that, but I think
Well,
I think it's
SQ.
a testimony to show that hey, I run that on my rifle now, my
I mean,
duty rifle.
I would say there's nobody that I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
I say it all the time when I'm teaching. If you go to any team room in the United States of America and you say, I'm an iron sights guy, they're like,
Yeah.
get out.
Idiot.
yeah, exactly. I was like, idiot. Not in this team, you're not. Because are you going to tell my wife what happened when you didn't shoot that guy?
Absolutely.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or even challenge somebody on that. Like, hey, man, are you confident in your irons right now?
Yeah. Well, and here's the deal. There's some dudes that are very confident in that area, but why?
It does not change the fact that to effectively direct that weapon, you have to come back to it. You have to abandon the problem down.
Exactly.
You know
that, and I go back to what happens to your body under pressure.
Yeah,
and
under
stress,
yeah.
right? Just dumb it
Specifically,
down.
Existential stress. So
Yes.
not just stress, I can't pay a bill, but stress. We were talking about it earlier in the hallway that all of us face or experience auditory exclusion daily. You know, when you're stressed out because of something you're thinking and he has to repeat himself 3 or 4 times, that's auditory exclusion.
Yeah.
So that's the effect of stress. But existential stress, I mean, that degree of stress that calls into question your remaining time on the planet.
So let me ask you this. Do you remember your first...
No.
I mean, for us... Okay,
We
cool.
were-
Podcast is over, guys. Episode 36.
I know it.
No, we were talking about it earlier. The first time I experienced perceptive narrowing.
No. Like, do you remember your first, for us, it would be our first warrant, our first, door hit,
Yeah.
Do you remember your first boat hit?
Absolutely.
What did you see?
Absolutely right. Very, very little.
Nothing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Nothing.
Yep.
I think, and people don't understand in the general public, they don't understand that, some of these individuals that have been involved in situations, right? Good shoots, bad shoots, or whatever. Some of them that are newer officers, this is what they're saying.
Oh, or worse.
mean-
I call it bobsledding. And I'm talking about, it doesn't have to be real. I remember going through B-Talk and the, hitting the house and, somebody saying, hey, where were you in room 3? I was like, room 3?
I just thought I went in the door.
Right. I felt like somebody had grabbed the muzzle of my rifle and just drugged me through the house. That's what it felt like. Because you don't, it's such
it's
a
amazing
terrible standard.
to me, dude. It's amazing, bro. Especially like doing it after actions and after hits and just the other day. And I don't care if you're a seasoned guy, just the other day going after a murder suspect, hit a house, and there was a split second. I was like, oh god, I need to open this up right now because all I'm seeing is the back of my dude's, and it was just really quick, right? And I was like, okay, you've been here before. Take a deep breath and go through. And people don't understand that stress. And what blows my mind is, and I'm so thankful that civilians and general public are taking investment into the 2A community, but people don't understand that liability of when shit hits the fan and I got to pull that trigger and it's going to go bang, what we're actually seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So very little.
So very little.
Very little. And
Yeah.
I mean, I remember I use this in training quite a bit. I always, at the door, exhale completely. I come all the way off of all the oxygen I have because if you don't, if you hold it, you'll hold your breath. I remember
I'm thinking
getting
of it
into
right. I'm thinking of like when you hear me on my when we used to have body cameras, I go.
You're
Dude, I do that.
You're hypoxic because you're holding your breath because it's terrifying. The dragon could live in that door. You know what I mean? you don't know.
Do you remember your first jump?
Huh? Oh, yeah, I do.
Yeah?
I'm scared as fuck. Dude.
Hey, what's
but
funny?
It's just about eyes wide open, though, essentially. But you just look at the, what do you call it? The
Horizon.
horizon. Yes.
Yeah.
Look at the horizon. That was it. I can't remember. Thank you, Red Rest. No, but yeah, they just tell you look at the horizon. Don't even look at the thing. And I think the first.
I'd
one,
be
I was
like,
number
"Where's
2.
the horizon? I'm upside
first jump
down.
out,
It's
yeah.
the sky."
No, the
You
first
know?
jump I was number 2 guy. So I remember that vividly.
I
It was
much
the first
prefer
day
that.
jump.
I don't want to
Yeah.
be number 40.
yeah, I know. You can see, but I remember just seeing that horizon. I was like, "Holy shit!" But honestly, the key to that jump was like being so fucking airsick. I want to get the fuck out of the plane. So that was that point. I was like, "Get me out of here."
I got a funny helicopter story. It was fast roping. It wasn't jumping, but it was. So it was when we were first. So the way they taught us to fast rope was like we went to this silly tower that shook when you stood up on it, and this guy jumps off, grabs a rope, and goes down. And he goes, "Do it like this." As he's going down. Okay, I guess I'll do it like that.
Good
So-
instructor.
Yeah, right. So I'm in the helicopter, and they say the first one's not a worry. It's going to be 40 feet. Okay, so 40 feet doesn't sound very tall. So I get to 40 feet. I'm like, holy, god damn, that looks like a long way up.
Yeah.
So the fast rope master is saying, well, before we leave, because you can't hear anything in a helicopter, says you're going to go halfway down the rope. You're going to stop, and you're going to let go of the rope with your feet and lock out. Hold. So just in case because when you're over water, sometimes the helicopter moves and you don't want to keep going because, you're going to have to
over
swim
water.
to catch up,
Yeah.
right? So he said,
Where's Buck?
exactly right. He's trying. He's trying. This is what I don't want you to do. I want you to go halfway and then, do that. He said, don't do it anywhere near the helicopters. Like, okay. So I get to the door and I'm looking at the horizon. I'm like, holy shit, dude, this is a long way up here. It's a long way up. So I jump out, grab the rope, slide down, slide, and just try not to look at how far I am. You know what I mean? Break and lock out. I'm like, whew, finally. And I go to look at the helicopter, and I could have touched it. And
it's like 2 feet.
Yeah, the fast rope master's looking out the door going like this.
Idiot. That's all right, man.
Oh,
Brad was there for
great.
the first time I ever fucking shit my pants.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He did.
My leg was shaking so bad.
No, your whole body was shaking,
Oh,
bro.
dude, it was.
I came up on gun. I squeezed him from behind. I said,
I
"Hey, I'm
will
with you."
never-
He's giving commands, and all I see is this.
Dude, I will never ever forget that day.
You can
and
tell it.
I honestly, I would have.
Were
I
you
was
powered
ready.
too?
Dude, I had superpowers. I
so
was like,
we,
anybody can come at me. I was like, we were ready to rock.
So
and
I
roll.
was with my last.
Do you want me to tell it?
I was with my last agency, and I was street crimes, and he was a boot.
Brand new.
I mean, brand new.
new.
And we got a call about an aggravated robbery.
You want to tell it?
Stealing some phones at a Metro PCS, and the phone.
Let me finish this.
I will let you finish it.
You're
So
doing
I'm gonna fucking preface everything
You're
because
doing
he's
it
gonna go
trash.
into exaggeration.
I'm not gonna go to
He's
that.
gonna be like, I was fast roping in from the helicopter.
Fuck no.
No,
dude.
so
I'll
we
tell
get the
real
call
story.
from the Metro. They start pinging the phone, and it goes into GP. And I was like, well, I don't think Mark's working.
Mark
Not
was
in
You're
working.
gonna fucking
Yeah,
bleep
sorry.
that, dude.
I'll
Mark
bleep
was
that.
working.
Yeah, I'll bleep that. So Mark was working.
Yeah.
Mark's
Anyways,
always working.
Yeah, I am always working.
Every time I go in GP, Mark's working.
Oh, God
Bleep-
damn it.
bleep
Stop.
that.
Bleep,
Bleep that.
We're gonna fucking bleep.
Oh, we
both
will.
those.
That's
Yeah.
easy. That's easy to bleep.
You son of a bitch. Anyways, I just got done
Huh?
doing I was brand new. I just got done doing a fucking illegal stop, and my FTO stopped it.
It was legal.
No,
Legal.
well, it wasn't. And he was like, before we even went up there, he was like, "You're gonna apologize to this person, and then we're gonna go back and talk about it." Like,
Literally
yes,
day
sir.
one.
Yeah, I was like, "Yes." I was like, "Yes, sir."
Actually,
Like, I'm an idiot.
this was last week. So
Yeah. Like, yes, sir. I'm an idiot. He literally, I did it, and he like looked at me. He goes, "You're gonna say sorry. We're gonna walk back to the car." I was like, "Okay." I was like, I walked back. I was like, "Sorry," and I walked back. Then that was it. Anyways, they had come over the radio and said like, the sister agency was chasing this robbery suspect in there, and we were right by this highway, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Like,
meanwhile, we're not chasing. I'm just
I was
driving
like,
110 miles an
yeah.
hour for no reason
not
because I don't know who it is.
So we were right there, and I was like, "Oh fuck yeah, man, let's do this." I was like, I got fucked up this stop. I was like, I gotta go make myself look better than this. So we jump in our car, and we see all the lights and sirens coming down the highway. I'm like, fuck yeah. I was like, key up, and we're like, yeah, we're in it. And,
And you need to preface that my beautiful bride, because we both
hold
met at our
on,
last
hold on,
agency,
yeah.
She was pregnant at the time.
She
Oh,
was-
we're telling you.
Yeah.
You were
She was
in the
act-
room. We are
She was
telling
actually,
it.
yeah, she's actually, she was texting me. I had a smartwatch.
She
on.
was
She was
pregnant.
texting me.
She was like, "Are
"Hey."
you getting this call?" I'm
She's like, "Hey,
why
we're
are you
coming
out
in-"
here?
Yeah, she's like, "We're coming into your city." Yeah, she's like, "We're coming into your city." You know,
She
Yeah.
should have been fucking parked on the fucking desk.
yeah. So we're coming to your city. So I'm like reading the text message, and like dispatch is keying up, and I'm like, "Fuck yeah, we're getting this." So anyways, we jump in it. We get all these people. We pull off into a fucking Arby's or whatever that's over there. And this one officer comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, it's this green car, you know, license plate ABC 123." So we hop the curb and get on dispatch, and I'm like, "Hey, we're behind the suspect's car. It's a green car, license plate ABC 123." Like, "Yeah, that's the robbery suspect." Blah 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 blah. And my FTO is like talking to me and saying all this shit, and I'm like, "Fuck yeah, here we go." I was like, "This is what I signed up for." So we light them up on the highway. It's a major highway, right? Light them up. They pull over, and we all jump out. And we draw down on them. And I'm like shaking, like literally, I'm
he is-
shaking so
Fucking
bad.
guy
Right?
was
Fever
everywhere, bro.
shaking.
He was everywhere, bro.
We take the channel, which is like emergency traffic, and there's like this whole lingo that goes on with it, right? I'm like, "This is my moment, here it is," and I remember I'm on the highway, right, and I'm like looking at this car.
We literally shut the highway
Yeah,
down.
we
Like
shut-
I
so-
pull in going 110 miles an hour, fucking
So
just
so like
block
we're
it.
shutting down the highway, and I'm like, "All right," I was like, I'm like, "I'm ready to do this. Here we go." And then I just hear the sirens coming in behind me, right? Like the cavalry's coming, and my adrenaline is going through the roof, and my leg is just shaking, just like this, dude. It is shaking so bad, right? I'm like shaking. I'm like, "Whoa, whoa!" woo! And then I hear the fucking cop cars like screech behind me, and it's like out of an action movie. Like one of the old dudes who was with me, who just recently retired,
Just randomly starts
just
racking a shotgun.
Fucking racks a shotgun. Like,
Bro,
he's like, I'm with you, buddy. I'm like, fuck yes, fuck yeah, here we go. We're gonna do this. And then next thing I know, all these people start like what? We're gonna shut down the highway. Shut down the highway. There's a helicopter above this and all this other
There was
shit.
no helicopter.
People are racking. Well, listen, in my mind, there's a fucking helicopter.
You thought we had air units.
It's in my mind too. I get a helicopter.
Yeah. People are like, I got other
go.
people like racking freaking rifle rounds, like running across, getting like an overwatch position, and I am on like fucking Mach 10 of like just excitement. I was like, this is what I wanted to do. This is what I'm living for. And my leg is shaking. I remember my leg shaking so
Not
bad.
just your leg.
In my mind, my leg is shaking. And then the next thing I know, I feel someone grab the back of my collar, of my neck, and like a forearm go against me. And this gun goes past, like this pistol goes
So
right
here's
past
the
my
deal,
head.
and here's the deal. I got to preface it. So I come up from behind. I was like, well, that's fucking Mark. And
Shut up, dude. Let me finish the story.
Yeah. And so I'm like, man, he's really shaking. So I was like,
dude, it was
so
bad.
I brace him, like almost like we're
Dude,
pinching up for a hit.
listen.
And I'm like, I'm gonna take this cover right here because I don't know if he's gonna hit anything.
Listen, so fucking, I was in a video game, man. I feel someone grab the back of my head. This gun comes past my head, right?
Rainbow
and all in my
Six.
head, I hear, and Brad's voice is like, Mark, I'm with you. And I'm like, Bradley? Is that you? And then in my head, I'm like, oh shit, dude, this is fucking it. Like screaming, right? I was like, whoa, fuck, yes. And we started doing our the freaking high risk. I'm like, driver, throw the fucking keys out the window. Whoa. And sure shit, man, we get them all out. And we do the whole freaking the takedown, and I'm freaking out. I can only see like a pin-sized needle because I'm.
Oh,
so
you didn't shoot the guy?
Oh no, man! I was just,
Bro, they were literally just buying tacos at the fucking thing at
don't
Arby's.
ruin the story.
They weren't even related.
Listen. Don't ruin the damn story. Anyways, all said and done, everybody comes out right, and get both people into the custody, and we start talking to them. Everybody's freaking out, and like.
Here comes Waddles.
Through like the crowd of people, right? It's like Moses, and this crowd of police officers, right? Just red and blue.
I'm so pregnant. I'm gonna get out on scene. What the fuck is going on?
All the officers split, and who do I see? Here I see my sister, freaking duck,
first off,
walking over to me.
Yeah, what was she wearing?
Yeah, and the first thing I noticed, right, is this is my very first true like super stressful like what do you call it? I don't know, like
People buying tacos and we
yeah,
held them at gunpoint.
high incident events. I don't know, like your first time you're under like a real shit show of like a situation, right? And it's all done, and I'm still like shaking. I'm like on cloud nine, and this sea of officers are behind me, and they spread. And here's my sister walking up to me, and the first thing I said to her was like, "Why the fuck are you wearing a white t-shirt?"
So so at our agency we had dark uniforms. I won't say what agency, but pretty much black. And she was wearing like a white t-shirt, and I'm like, and I even looked. I'm like, babe, I live with you. Why are you? What is this Los Angeles, LA County type, bullshit uniform you're wearing? She's like, I'm pregnant. I'm like, why are you here? Like, you're supposed to be parked at a desk. And she's supposed to be on the desk. Yeah, supposed to be on the desk. Yeah, we had a conversation after that. It didn't go very well because I
Anyways,
lose all of them.
So who
Turns
made the
out-
decision to have a black uniform in Texas?
Well, we won't. We'll talk. We'll talk offline.
Anyway,
there's several
I know,
agencies. Yeah, you know.
Anyway, long story short, Brad's old agency got it wrong, and those people were completely fine.
Yeah,
so,
totally.
so my agency, we all left.
Yeah, and then we were like,
they had to
"Dear
handle this.
Chief."
Yeah, they had to write a bunch of stuff.
But here, there's something to say about them. With the story, bro, is like too many people look at that as a wouldn't humble themselves for that experience, right? Because they don't want to realize that
Mistakes.
Yeah, the mistakes, right? The mistakes and what you see.
Yeah.
Because here's the deal, you were a rookie officer. I mean, you were
So,
a boot. Like,
so
you were
brand
still
new.
shining your boots.
Yeah,
you weren't
so
going to get
brand
the thing
new.
wearing tennis shoes and trying to get away with it,
So brand new.
But there's something to say about that. It doesn't matter how old you are, how seasoned you are. When your sympathetic nervous system goes and your prefrontal cortex goes to shit,
Yeah. Well,
it goes to shit. It goes away.
Yeah. Well, interestingly, the way that you see, because all that is essentially based on what you see. You don't have to be in full SNS response for your vision to fail you. we think of vision as a mechanical process. It's not a mechanical process. It's a perceptive process. So, the things that you see are,
Some fucking duck in the room.
Hey, man,
I thought you were being rude.
Yeah.
What you see is completely based on, well, I shouldn't say completely, but largely based on your bias. So it's based on what you're accustomed to seeing. So, and what you're expecting to see, I guess, because while we do have a tremendous capacity, we don't have a capacity to see everything that's going on. So that hippocampus draws this map of expectation based on what's going on. So if you see a car doing something that you've seen 15 times running because it's an aggravated assault, it's an aggravated assault.
Yeah.
And you will fill in all kinds of things. I teach typically, I did today, if you hold your thumb at arm's length, what you actually see, what you focus on is about the size of your thumbnail. Everything else is largely a map of expectation. You know what I mean? So,
That's good.
Based on your bias.
So would you say it's a map of expectation or assumption?
Well, it's assumption based on expectation, right? So that's I said it earlier. If you ever looked for something, like glasses on your head or something that's right there, right in front of you,
every day.
Yeah.
And you just don't see
Yeah.
it. Well, that disproves sight as we know it, because if you see things, then you see things as kind of the lore goes. Well, you'd see those, but you don't see those because seeing is not a function of your eyes; it's a function of your brain. It's this expectation. I didn't set my glasses there. I don't usually set my glasses there, so I just won't see them. So it is assumption based on expectation. So that's why, this thing, this what is it we use? It's a bad word in law enforcement, but dadgummit, what do you call it? When you see a car and you see a certain person driving a car and you pull them over based on that. Profiling.
Profiling.
Yeah, we all profile.
Well, I mean, it's criminal profiling.
Yeah, exactly. We profile all the time.
And to me, a good officer, a good civilian, if I go into just the other day, I was out of town for training. I pulled in the gas station and I was like, nope, don't feel like getting a shooting tonight.
Yeah.
Nope. And it was just this bad vibe between two white dudes. And we'll take race out of that. It was two white dudes.
Well, you didn't take race out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
okay,
and just a bad vibe between the two. And I was like, nah, not today. Pulling in another gas station.
Yeah.
Right. And I can't explain it, like what I felt, I just know there was something afoot there. Right.
A microstimulus that you're assembling in the back of your brain as something of concern.
So do you as an instructor, and more to, well, really any form of instruction teach to that?
Yeah, absolutely. I do. Yeah. Actually, it's interesting. I used to teach this thing called, am I slurring?
No, you're not.
No.
Not yet.
Not
Almost.
yet. Yeah.
Almost. I'll let you know when you
all right,
start.
thanks.
Hey, look, it's the Uncommon Line podcast, bro. If you ain't slurring, you ain't good.
Yeah.
It was personal security concepts was the name of the course, and it was all about things like that. Largely, it was about your brain and how how it works. But yeah, I do teach to it. What I taught in that class, and the reason I brought it up was, there's something very, very powerful that will cancel that sort of, I come just short of saying subconscious because we lean on that word too much, but subconscious in this cast, but that knowledge and its ego. So I'll trust a woman long before I trust myself in terms of not going into the gas station. If a woman says, okay, it makes a lot of sense because it's much more available to them. So
Are you calling me a woman?
I'm saying you should be much more like a woman.
Well, anyways.
Yeah, I do teach that. Shoot house classes or tactics classes. I try and teach people to go completely loose as best you can, because that makes the information more available. But if you're blasting into the room with the expectation of shooting everything, don't be surprised when you shoot everything.
Yeah, and that's the whole ideology. Whoa,
That's good.
Ideology.
Yeah.
More the slur that about to happen, but
Good.
as far as slowing things down, how much? Really, how many dynamic hits are we doing anymore? Unless it's a hostage rescue, I'm gonna pop it, let it breathe, start clearing slowly. I don't care if you start destroying evidence. If I lose the evidence, I lose the evidence.
Who cares?
Right? My guys are safe.
I think you should build a fence, pump gas, and wait.
Hell
Why
yeah.
not?
Hell
Why
yeah.
would you not
Yeah.
do that? If I
Hell
could have
yeah.
done that, I'd have done that.
And
all
I mean, the
time.
people that know me know what I do. And there's many times where we're like, rarely, but there's many times where we go, cool, pop it, breach it, let it go, let it breathe, challenge. Cool. All right, let's back it out.
Yeah.
BPM up, let it breathe, let it happen. And then, let other people come in and handle the situation.
Just like you said earlier, right before you go in, do you really need to do this?
Do we need to do this?
Do we need to really
And that's
do this?
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Anything.
anything. Too many people don't even take that as a life
Yeah, well,
lesson,
that's
right?
the thing. It's
Like,
do we
do I
really-
need to do this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, no,
Read this.
you really don't.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
don't. You
Yeah.
don't.
You really don't.
You
Yeah.
don't need to. Back
You want
it
to
off.
ask him the question?
All right. As we start to wrap things up,
Okay.
this has been a great episode. I really enjoyed
Yeah,
this.
I could, dude. Buck, I could keep going for 3 hours.
You guys say
bro.
this to everybody.
They
Well,
do.
usually, man, I'll tell you what. Every time,
Okay, look, there's some, no.
no. There are times when we do the podcast, I forget. Like, fuck, man, I'm on a podcast right now. Like, oh yeah, you just get lost in it. But anyways, besides the point. Here's our famous question.
Okay.
All right. In today's world of so much commonality, right, with people just going with the flow and do whatever they want, what does being uncommon mean to you?
Oh, fascinating.
Every time.
Every time.
Every time.
Is that the,
Not
that's
every
the answer
time.
you got?
Here's the deal.
No,
I mean,
well, some people prep for it.
Some people prep for it because they kind of know, but it's interesting. The ones that truly we take them by surprise. It's like I can't wait to hear your answer.
Okay.
Not to put you on the spot. But
Well,
you
you
put 'em on the
have.
spot.
yeah.
Yeah, don't worry. Bradley's got your back.
Yeah, I mean, he carries a Mont Blanc and he wears an Omega.
That's my answer.
Asshole.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, touche, bro. Touche. Yeah, dude.
All right.
You're an
I think,
asshole.
That's a pen and a watch for people
Aimpoint.
who don't know. 'cause I learned at the beginning of the
Aimpoint,
episode.
you did good. You did good.
I think. Okay. I think that's a great question. I think being uncommon means to consider things for what they are and not for what you are expected to believe them as. You know what I mean? I think I take a good amount of pride in analyzing things. Again, for what they are as opposed to what they're expected to be, because I think we live in a time where things are not as they are. There's this image attached to things. I don't want to bring up the skull T-shirt again, but it is. Yeah.
So you just rub it in our face, bro. You know what? I'm going to come out with the panda T-shirt.
No, I think it is. I think understanding things for or as best you can, and because it requires so much. It requires a tremendous amount of humility, because most of the time you're party to the lie, of what things are, or the way things are, especially in our world. So I think it's trying to understand things for what they are and not what you expect them to be.
So when I bring up perception versus reality, or perception is reality, what is your opinion on that?
I think perception is reality because we are creatures of perception. I teach that quite a bit. So
There's a lot of people that deny that.
No, it's the truth.
There's a lot of people that go, perception shouldn't be reality. Well,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be,
Right.
right? It shouldn't be what I perceive in my personal opinions. Reality should be reality.
Right, but it's not.
Yeah.
Are you sitting on the chair you're sitting in? No, you're not.
He reads a lot of books.
Yeah, your electrons and it's neutrons or whatever physics would demand are
Math.
pushing against each other, but you're never actually making contact with that chair. And I always use that as a proof. You're not sitting. You feel it because that's perception.
This is too weird. Am
Yeah,
I
yeah.
high right now?
It's like
I
taking
don't,
a
I don't
red
do
pill versus
drugs,
blue
but am
pill.
I high right now?
Not yet.
This guy fucking Neo? What's going on, man?
But you're not
He
sitting.
made me feel like I floated.
Fucking bend the spoon.
Bend the
The
spoon.
spoon doesn't
Am I
bend, your mind
sitting?
bends.
Am I sitting? I don't fucking know.
Like, what the fuck, dude?
But you're not. You're not really sitting in the chair. You're sitting near the chair. You're sitting just over the chair. But perception would tell you, and I mean, it feels silly to say you're not sitting in the chair, but you are not. You are not making contact with anything, or you'd pass through it. That's just the way physics works, right?
No, I don't know how physics work.
Yeah.
Well, you're a police officer.
Yeah. My major was criminal justice.
Yeah.
So anyway, so perception has to be reality because we can't go around thinking that we're not really sitting in the chair. That I'm not really.
But there's a lot of
sitting
people
in-
that try to fight the fact that we are sitting in the chair. We're not.
Yeah, exactly.
that want to pull you away from that.
Yeah, that's reality. Yeah,
That's what I mean. I mean,
yeah.
reality isn't necessarily what we see nowadays.
No, it's not.
Reality
It's
is what's put out there.
yeah,
which
it's
is-
enhanced.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
enhanced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I believe that perception is reality because you take action on it. You know, that's what we act on is our perception of it. So, I think in a real sense, it's reality in terms of outcome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's not necessarily reality as we understand it. And I guess that's being uncommon is to try and look at what's really, really going on. And though you may smirk at reality as perceived, you really understand
Yeah.
what's going on or try.
Chris, he's got to come back on, bro.
I told you, man. Yeah,
gotta
that's the one thing. It's as far as ever since I got to know Buck, just like the first conversation we had, a lot of the values and philosophies lined up pretty well, and that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah,
he is
I
the
appreciate-
world's
yeah.
he's the world's most interesting man.
Yes, but not to mention and stuff like it. He brings up points when it comes to even just shooting and the mechanics of rifles, where nobody ever brings that up to me, and I'm like, well, fuck, I'm glad you noticed that because
Yeah.
to me it's a breath of fresh air because not everybody does.
Well, and I was
And-
watching some of the posts this week, and I was like, I've got to take a class from
Yeah,
you.
I know.
Yeah.
I was thinking the
I
same
know.
thing.
I was like, man, I said I'm willing to fly. I got to take
Yeah.
a class from you, bro.
Guess what? Their open
No.
enrollment's coming soon.
Cool.
Just letting
Wait,
you know.
why do I have to be an open enrollment? Can't I just be in regular enrollment?
Actually, I'm coming back to Texas soon, but I think it's a intelligence community class. But I think I'm teaching in.
That's cool. Who's the intelligence community? Give me names. OPSEC. Come on. Give me
I thought-
names.
I thought
Let's
it-
burn them down, baby. Yeah. OPSEC, what?
Thought intelligence would have taken care of that.
Yeah.
You're an asshole. I can call you that now. You've been on the show.
Yeah, been on the show, man. Yeah.
No, dude. Fuck, man.
That was a
I
good
mean, I
episode,
could
man.
keep going.
Yeah,
I
I
could keep
know.
going.
Yeah.
And
It was a good
Me
episode.
too.
the thing is, I don't want to. It's funny. We I talked to you about that butter number, right? Hour and a
Yeah.
half, hour 15. But I feel like people are gonna start messaging us on this one and just be like, hey, we need another hour. You
Oh,
know?
Yeah.
And here's the deal. It's like when and I've learned on every episode, right? Every single episode we've done, we've learned. There's some that I'm just like,
Oh yeah, you forget
Yeah.
that
when
you're
you
there.
start, here's the deal. First off, it doesn't take much to confuse me, so don't take this as much of a compliment. But when you start like really like causing me to think and have to really think about the next question, even though I don't ever. Well, for those that watch us, I do not have a script. I will not give a question out. I was hesitant to give you the one question that we didn't even really get to.
Yeah, we didn't get to.
Yeah.
It's so vague.
It's
Man, quit being so vague.
yeah, and
Come on,
it's
man.
like, and that's what we want. And when I have trouble starting to think, I'm like, what am I gonna fucking say? Like, what is he? What?
What's your favorite color?
Yeah.
What kind of music you like?
How do you style your hair, Buck?
Yeah, it's like, so
You know?
we got these blue lights. Do you like them, Buck? Do you like the blue? I could change them right now to orange if you want.
Anyway, stay switch on to staying Coleman. No, dude, I thank you so much, man, for
Absolutely.
coming on, bro.
Great time. Fantastic. First podcast.
Really?
Right on.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, yeah, rock out.
Hell
Yeah, salute, man.
Hey, Aimpoint USA,
Yeah.
remember that first podcast. And to be honest, we're gonna blow all your other podcasts out of the water. So you can have podcasts on, Aimpoint USA, but really they're gonna script your talent here. But we won't do that, and nor should we. And I firmly believe that, because to me, the organics of it, the true structure of it, it truly reflects you.
I love it,
Your
man.
company, and I would be proud of the end product today, and I'm proud of this product that was
Yeah.
presented today, which sometimes I don't even like calling product, but at the end of the day, really, if you think about it in the business aspect, it is. But
It's product, though. But the interesting thing about calling things product is that you'll never know the conversation you have with people is that when I say product, they think it's other things. Like product.
yeah, like here is
product.
the phone, product, SKU
they're
number.
like-
No,
they're like product. Can I get some? And I'm like, what are you talking about? No,
It's
not
the
that
flat
kind of
bill.
product.
Yeah.
It's the flat bill that
probably
does it.
And to me, that's
you know?
that's the thing, is like we're constantly, especially for our brand, on the Uncommon Line podcast, is we're looking for the product that we want to represent, right?
Yeah.
The people we want to represent, the brands. We don't bring anybody on here. Trust me. We have found people people have sought us out. I just had a big time person, chief, and we had another business that was very big in Times Magazine reach out. And I was like, no thanks, bro. What's uncommon about you?
Yeah, hold the line, man.
And I didn't get a response from that one dude because I put him on his spot. I was like, bro, what's uncommon about you? You know, anybody can go and do what you're doing right now, but really what's uncommon. And so, dude, I thank you. I thank you to Aimpoint USA.
Thank you.
I thank you to y'all's brands, everybody involved. Awesome episode. And I'm not just saying that because we're, 3 bottles in. I truly believe that. I truly mean that.
I had a great time. I really did. This is fantastic. Yeah.
Mark, anything in closing?
Nah, man.
Yeah, dude. Awesome.
Coast to you, brother.
Yeah.
Shit, mate. Chief.
Yeah, that's right. He will bow down to
Yeah.
him.
I know.
All I
my
know is
role.
today is Bradley has my back.
Yeah.
Huh?
Bradley has my back.
Yeah. We all know that.
Yeah.
Oh, I always have your
I'm
back,
just
bro.
saying,
I always have
feels
your back,
good,
bro. By the way, shirts dropped at Triarch Systems, right? Both shirts?
What we did?
Yeah. Y'all had them on the for.
Dude,
Anyways, new shirts, Triarch Systems.
Yeah, you got us caught about that.
They're
She's saying all
badass.
that.
Yeah, check 'em out.
Both of them are freaking badass.
They're out
Freaking
there
love
doing
'em.
stuff. I don't even know what's going on. All these shirts pop
Perfect.
up now. I'm like,
There
what
you
the
go.
fuck's going on?
Katya, keep doing what you're doing. Keep dropping
Yeah.
them without his knowledge. Just use that corporate credit card, baby.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
use it,
saying.
run it.
So, thank you so much, guys. Make sure you tune into the episodes. Stuff coming up. Everything with Pushing the Line. We got some other stuff in store. We'll have. Make sure you like and follow Aimpoint USA. Buck, where can we find you, buddy?
Long Highway Home, Instagram, and then Aimpoint USA. Aimpoint.USA. Yeah.
That's awesome. Long Highway Home. What's the meaning behind that?
I was deployed a lot.
Oh, okay.
It's always Long Highway Home.
Yeah,
There
that's
you go.
awesome. That's
Boom.
awesome. Boom.
True statement.
So remember, guys, stay safe, stay switched on, and stay on.